wife had a wild phase before marriage, and now I feel left out.
To go back in time.
I've been married to my wife for 5 years, together for 8, and we have 2 beautiful children. She's been my first everything, my first girlfriend, my first real relationship, my first in every sense. She was the first person to breastfeed you.
That you can remember, probably.
Hmm.
That you can remember.
I didn't really date in high school or college because, honestly, I didn't take care of myself. I lacked confidence and didn't feel attractive, so I stayed focused on other things.
Like studying the blade.
By the way, this comes from user headspecific 6763. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Riley.
And OP says, my wife, on the other hand, had a more typical college experience, quote unquote.
She went to the University of Miami. She went to the University of Arizona.
And technically, that one's not
Oh,
the
ASU. My bad.
Yeah.
But they still get after it.
She had a few relationships and her phase, as she was extremely attractive. She even did stuff with 2 guys at the same time.
Uh-oh.
She was upfront about it when we started dating, and it never bothered me, although I tried not to think about it too much. Now, here's the thing. Over the years, she's become quite reserved when it comes to intimacy. She says she had her wild side during college, and now that she's done with that phase, she prefers a more traditional approach to intimacy. She says she's tried everything she wanted to and knows what she enjoys and what she doesn't in the boudoir. And she wants to build intimacy on love, not
wild lust.
And I completely respect that. I'm not trying to do something which doesn't excite her in the bedroom. But lately, I've changed. I'm in the best shape of my life, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Even my family and friends are kind of shocked with how I look. My wife loves the new me and says she finds me more attractive than ever, but to be blunt, I don't care that my wife finds me attractive because I know I look good now.
Uh-oh.
And it's not like her finding me more attractive will change anything in the bedroom department.
So I'm getting Spider-Man when he finds Venom in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I'm hearing the music play in my head right now.
Can you hear the music, Robert? Yes, I can.
Tobey Maguire going on the street. Ah, dude.
He's looking at the suit like, whoa.
Yeah, feeling good.
I would say that your wife finding you way more attractive could do something in the bedroom department.
Could spark some more, past things that she did, wanting her to explore more.
I find it concerning, though, that you seem to be like,
He's
maybe
a little cocky with it.
Was your wife partially responsible for you becoming this version of yourself? Like,
has this been your gym fuel recently? I think he wants more action from others. That's what I'm getting. Ugh. Anyways.
My hormones right now are all over the place, and I can't help but feel like I missed my chance to experience that same fun side of life. I never had the exploration, the experimentation, or the freedom. Now that I finally feel great about myself, that door seems closed. I brought it up with my sister, who I'm close with, and she was surprisingly blunt. She said it's unfair that my wife got to have those experiences and now expects me to settle for less than what she once enjoyed. That hit me harder than I expected. But my sister also loves me so much and said some crazy stuff like I deserve to have an experience with at least one other woman in my life, or else I'll keep resenting my wife. Remember, first and only everything.
Dude, after having our special guest from yesterday come through, sounds like you may need to talk to a spicy therapist or a dominatrix. They can maybe guide you through this.
Yeah, I think y'all need guidance to get on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I love my wife. I don't want to hurt her. I'm not thinking of cheating or anything like that, but I do feel stuck between respecting her boundaries and acknowledging my own desires that never had a chance to exist. Am I wrong for feeling this way? Has anyone else been in this situation? How did you cope? And we have some top comments.
I remember when I was working out a lot, my hormones were up. I was feeling good all the time, mental clarity, and I had a lot of energy. And my other take on this is if you're feeling this way about your wife, you might need to, I don't know, find a new passion or a new hobby or something. And instead of thinking, oh, my wife doesn't want to do this. Oh, my wife had these experiences. I don't want to do this. And having like start falling in love with something else, so that's not corrupting your mind. Because it sounds like you do have resentment towards your wife. It's like fighting an addiction if someone's like, I'm addicted to pornography, super, super hard. You need to fall in love with, like, I don't know, painting, and then you love to paint so much that you don't even think about that aspect. I'm kind of getting that vibe. I could be wrong, but that's my thought.
It's like, I'm so hot, I want to put myself out there.
It's like, well, you're married.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't want to put yourself out there because you don't want to cheat, but it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. You want to feel the validation that you're hot and sought after.
Yeah. Desired, perhaps.
Top comments, RK8814RK says, I would be careful taking your sister's advice about your relationship. The right thing is to have an honest conversation with your wife and be direct. The butt demon replies, this guy's sister hates his wife. Conclusion equal 2290 says, the grass is never greener on the other side. It's just different grass. From someone who is in the spicy hobbied world, get really, really clear on what it is you actually want. Every fantasy sounds great in your imagination, but whatever it is you want to explore, it will not be the same when played out with your wife or any other woman if you break up or whatever. It's a tale as old as time for a married person to have tons of ideas of what leaving their domesticated problems will be like. They think they'll be swimming in kitty or men will be lining up for them, and reality is very, very different. They are often disappointed and wish they could have their marriage and family back. It would be better to talk to your wife, likely in therapy, that you feel like you need to spice things up. You won't get anywhere by just being mad at her. And we have an update. I agree with those comments that it's like clearly your sister has it out for your wife. Maybe she feels like because she was your first everything, you shouldn't have married her and need more experience. I definitely picked up on that vibe.
Agreed. But we got an update.
Me too. Hey, everyone. I posted this last night and went to bed. Woke up a couple hours ago, read through a lot of replies. Thanks for all the honesty. And decided to have a conversation with my wife this morning. My wife and I are usually very honest with each other. I was upfront with her about how I've been feeling, specifically that I haven't been feeling very desired lately. She was surprised at first and even a little shocked because we're usually pretty lovey-dovey with each other. At first, she thought I was joking, but I told her I was serious. She reassured me that she loves me more than she can ever put into words, and that she finds me incredibly attractive. I asked her why I have to initiate intimacy most of the time, and that seemed to strike a chord with her. She got quiet and then told me she would make an effort to initiate more often, and even kissed me then, to show she meant it. She wanted to do it there, but I rejected her and told her I wasn't done. I told her that initiating more was a start, but what I really wanted was way, way, way more than that. I opened up about how she's had the chance to explore her fantasies and experiment in her past, while I never had that chance. I told her about the attention I've been getting from other women recently, like, for example, 3 women at the library I go to regularly who've been very upfront with me, and how I've turned all of them down, but that it still made me think. I told her I don't feel desired at all at home, and in fact, I feel more desired at the library, or park, or even at work when I talk to women. Then I told her directly, I want to seriously spice up our bedroom life. I'm not talking about just small things. I told her I'm in the best shape of my life, and right now I want to feel that kind of quote-unquote
wild lust
that I never got to experience. Not in a reckless way. I just want that passion and fire, at least for the next few years, while I feel this good in my skin.
Okay, does he want another person a part of his spicy life, or does he just want to feel more, I don't know, wild with his wife?
I don't know, man. I think that comment about, like, what do you actually want?
Because this threw me off whenever he mentioned the 3 librarians. It's like, I have options. I could do something.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so does she, I'm sure.
Yeah. Also,
Like,
you're going to look, if you keep up with your appearances, you're going to look good for a while. Like, I know a guy that's like 51, and he looks great because he works out regularly. Like, it's going to keep up with you if you keep up with it.
yeah. To my surprise, my wife was very receptive to what I said. We sat down and talked more openly than we have in a long time. I told her some of the fantasies in my head that I'd like to explore, and she actually listened and took me seriously. Okay.
See? Okay, conversation
Right.
goes a long ways.
Yes, it does. And you can have a lot of conversations to listen to if you head over to iHeartRadio or Spotify or Apple Podcasts and listen to the full episodes with stories just like this one. All you got to do is search OK Storytime, and you've got over 72 days worth of stories to listen to. That's a lot of days.
Really is. Almost 90 days.
Yeah, almost. It's a wonder what communication can do in a relationship. I think you probably could have communicated this a lot earlier.
Oh, absolutely.
Let that be a lesson. Communicate often and early.
This feels good. This feels nice.
Nice.
Feels good. It feels good. Okay. But then something happened that I wasn't expecting. She broke down in tears. She asked if I still found her attractive. And that hurt to hear because of course I do. I hugged her, comforted her, and told her I still find her as beautiful as ever. Yes, she's gone through some body changes since giving birth, but that doesn't change how I feel about her at all. So yeah, that's probably my final update. We still have a lot to talk about, but for the first time in a while, I feel heard and hopeful. Thank you all again for your input. It really gave me the push I needed to be honest with myself and with my wife. Comments. Number 1, I have a feeling this is definitely not over. Comment 2, he'll be back, posting about how he was blindsided by the divorce after things got spicier, i.e. he convinced her she needed to do things she didn't want to do to keep him happy, and she finally left. Remind me, 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Comment 3, these are the type of posts that I pray are rage bait, but I know all of them can't be. Reply, I've watched a very similar scenario play out with a couple I know. They were each other's first everything. 18 years and 2 kids later, he started getting itchy about everything he missed out on, and they decided to open the marriage. There was at least a year and a half of conversation leading to this point, which is, by the way, not what OP is discussing doing. She now has a local boyfriend, an out-of-town guy, and her husband. I'm not sure what his exact situation is, but from my vantage point, they seem to be living like roommates who occasionally F. I think they are staying married, mostly out of habit. Comment 4, it's pretty effed up to bring up how often other women are hitting on him the first time he bothers to talk to his wife about this. It's not even a subtle way to say that he's going to seek out other women if his wife doesn't comply with his demands, especially when they have 2 children, presumably under 5 years old. Reply says this guy 100% asked his wife if she would have a ménage à trois with him and a random woman who hit on him at the library. Well, that's the end of that story.
Wow, that's wild.
The comments did not like OP. Well, first of all, earlier in the story, you're like, I don't even care that my wife thinks I'm attractive. I know I am. And then later on, you ask her if she still thinks you're attractive. It's like clearly you care, and you also attach her ability to initiate the spicy time with you as a large indicator on whether or not she does find you attractive. Just go to your wife and say, hey,
I want to see what you learned at that sorority.
Oh God.
show me what you learned. Show me.
We got another story coming right up.
We do.
My wife used to enjoy our open marriage until I started enjoying it too.
Nobody wins here.
My wife, 50 female, and I, 51 male, have been together for a little over 25 years. We don't have kids together, but we both have grown children from previous relationships. The youngest, her daughter, moved out 10 years ago. After a period of empty nest syndrome, we decided to be more adventurous in our spicy sleep life. By the way, this comes from Oops. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. This led about 8 years ago to us deciding to enter in an open marriage. I enjoy hearing about and seeing her with other guys, so this worked for me. Despite not being overly interested in sleeping with others myself, I've had a few one-night stands over the years with her knowledge, and that's never caused a problem. My wife, on the other hand, has had anything from friends with benefits to full-on boyfriends over the last 8 years. Wow. She's even had serious feelings for a few people. None of that has ever hurt us. If anything, I think we're stronger now than we were a decade ago. A year and a half ago, I met a woman, 45 female, in line at a grocery store. She was very attractive, recently divorced, and seemed interested in me. I decided to pursue it, first with drinks, then later with proper dates. My wife was aware of what was happening at every stage. She thought it was cute and never hinted that it bothered her. The other woman, Jane, knows that I'm married and is okay with it, though she's held me at arm's length for most of our time together. Recently, however, we've gotten much closer. A few months ago, we had our first sleepover. I went to her place. It wasn't all spicy sleep either. We really got to know each other. Felt more like a real relationship. And since then, things have progressed to the point that I split my time between my wife and Jane fairly equally. My wife has done this many times in the past, and it's never been an issue with either of us. 2 weeks ago, we had a massive fight about Jane. Apparently, she feels very threatened by my new relationship with her. She feels that I'm replacing her and that nothing she's done is equivalent. Nothing was really solved. Everything blew over the next day, but it still lingers in the air between us. Every time I get a text from Jane, my wife scowls or leaves the room abruptly. I don't even bother mentioning her anymore. I love my wife and I love my marriage, but I care deeply for Jane. I don't want to give her up. I feel like my wife is being selfish here. I don't have many friends who I can talk to about this, so any advice would be much appreciated. There is a quick edit. My wife has had even closer relationships with other men over the years. One even lived with us for a short while. Oh, wow. I felt like she was going to leave me, and when we discussed those feelings, she understood and reassured me that I was her primary. I did the same thing when she came to me with her concerns, and suddenly I'm cheating and about to ruin our marriage. Nothing either of us has done goes against the rules that we established and re-established frequently. Edit number 2, I'm going to talk to her tonight. I won't bring up the fairness aspect to this, as many of you pointed out that there is no such thing as fair in an argument like this. I think I'll try to focus on what she feels threatened about. I love my wife and marriage and wouldn't choose anyone over her. I'm starting to understand that that's probably where her insecurity lies. She needs to understand how I feel about her and how my feelings for Jane don't affect our marriage. There are some comments, but I want to hear your comments. What do you think so far?
Yeah, that edit kind of helped a little bit because
Yeah.
he did say, "I love my wife and I love my marriage, but I really care for Jane."
Right,
Like,
right.
you're like, they're equal. No, it's always your wife. And
Yeah.
when it comes to open marriages, it seems like you guys were doing really well,
Yeah.
but maybe she's just irked by this one person because it seems like
Right.
you had past hookups before and you guys seemed very, adamant, like, this is okay.
Right.
Communication is clear. Had somebody live in your house,
Yeah.
one of her partners, which is very interesting and
Yeah.
good on you guys that your trust is that deep and
Right.
you guys can mutually agree on that. But again, the fairness thing, which is like when it comes to open marriages, there's such a thing as fairness per
Right.
se. You guys have ground rules, but you got to ask her exactly why is she so bothered by Jane. Again, it seems
Yeah.
like you did state 50-50 of your
Yeah.
time. It should be more so 75-25. I don't know.
Right.
Talk to your wife, see
Right.
what's making her not like this.
Comment number 1 says, okay, based on what you're saying, your wife is being completely unreasonable. She's insecure because for the first time, the boot is on the other foot. She never had to deal with this kind of jealousy because for her, your open relationship meant that she could have boyfriends, but you would only have one night stands. Probably never thought about it too much because she was getting hers and people don't think about things when they're having fun. But she wanted to have her cake and eat it and just assumed that it would always be that way because that's what would suit her and it was already happening. You don't have to answer this, but has it been a while since your wife had an extramarital relationship? The way you've described it, it sounds like her fun was in the semi-recent past, whereas you hardly indulged until now. Maybe she's being faced with starting to grow older and maybe hitting or approaching menopause, whereas you will continue to just be the same for the next 15 or so years at least. More if you take care of yourself, and she doesn't like the implications that you're able to cultivate this new relationship with a younger woman whilst she is starting to feel less desirable and less able to cultivate her own new relationships. Just a thought. OP responds, I think you're 100% right. She never had to deal with me spending the night at someone else's house or me getting sweet texts or any of those intimate things that seem to drive her crazy now. She's had all that and more for 8 years and it was tough at first, but I got used to it. She seems adamant that I'm at fault. She refuses to get used to it because she sees this as me replacing her. She generally has a few guys she's seeing at any given time. Sometimes she'll have a, quote, boyfriend who she's closer to or spends plenty of time with. Her current boyfriend has been around for about a year. Comment number 2 says it might be time to either close up the relationship or end it. Your open relationship with Jane seems a bit more serious than most open relationships I've seen, and your wife seems worried that you might wind up leaving her for Jane. Your wife has had her boyfriends, but did she ever give the feeling that she might leave you for one of them? As I mentioned before, she might be getting a feeling that you love Jane more than her. OP responds, my wife has had even closer relationships with other men over the years. One even lived with us for a short while. I felt like she was going to leave me and we discussed those feelings. She understood and reassured me that I was her primary. I did the same thing when she came to me with her concerns, and suddenly I'm cheating and about to ruin our marriage. Nothing either of us has done goes against the rules that we established and re-established frequently, and there is an update. We had a long talk last night. It turns out that she was upset by several things, the most serious of which was Jane's son. I didn't mention him before because I didn't think that he was relevant to the issue, but I was really wrong. Seems like she feels that I'm too close to Jane and her family, which is something that she hasn't done with her partners in the past. She's worried that I'll forge some kind of father-son bond with the kid. In reality, I've only met him a few times, though I have mentioned him to my wife. He's 18 and spends most of his time at his girlfriend's place. He also has his own father who he spends time with. I told her all of this. It seems to settle her a bit, but she was still concerned with the time a lot. I mentioned that maybe she was freaking out because I never really did anything like this before. thought about it and agreed. She was scared that I'm looking for something new or just bored. I assured her that she's my primary and that I would have been happy with things staying the same had Jane not come along. That didn't go over too well, but I clarified that I meant no one else seemed interesting enough to continue seeing. Again, she didn't like that, but she understood what I meant. By the way, you should understand that we have full episodes of horror stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more into the story, but that would hurt me too, I feel.
Yeah, now this is making more sense that I feel like OP was looking out. Yes, you were seeing Jane, but now now it's making a little bit more sense because there's a child involved or like a teenager involved.
Right.
And even though you met a couple times, the fact that you're like, kid, cool, we're tight. I thought you were just seeing Jane, not being, a new father role here.
Right. And like the fact that she was scared of him like leaving her for someone new, like maybe finding someone that he likes more. And then he's like, well, I mean, I just didn't like anyone until Jane came along. It's like, okay, that's not gonna make me feel any better liking this girl. Like that would make me more worried that you're like in love with her.
Another crucial part. So we're getting a little bit from OP's wife's side, which again, we kind of called it out. She was scared because you were giving more time to Jane, and obviously you like Jane, great, but it's like you really are into Jane, rather than your wife.
But there is a little bit more to the story. Let's wrap this on up. She cried a lot, so did I. We ended up having spicy sleep halfway through, which was a nice comfort. Afterwards, she asked me if I loved Jane. I didn't want to lie, so I said yes. She cried again. I asked if she had ever loved anyone else. I knew the answer. I just wanted her to see that she wasn't being totally fair. She got my point, but still said that she needed more time to adjust. That was nice to hear because up until then, she was saying that she'd never get used to it. I asked what I could do to ease her transition. I also offered couples therapy with a spicy hobby-friendly doctor, as someone suggested. She liked the therapy idea. I think she thought that I was ready to divorce her or something, so me wanting to work on things brought a smile to her face. We ended up deciding to look into therapy, but in the meanwhile, I'd continue seeing Jane with her blessing. She doesn't want to take a break from our open relationship, but she does want way more love affirmations from me. Thank you everyone that replied here and sent me PMs. I'll try to update this again if anything new happens. I don't think we're out of the woods yet, but we're a lot happier than we were a few days ago. And that is the end of that story.
Obviously, you guys are communicating and you guys have been doing this for a long time. And again, it's your comfortability level is so much higher than hers, and trust in her is a little bit higher than hers. And that makes sense because she's not used to this from your side. So, and the fact that she's like, okay, we're going to continue everything. Let's do couples therapy. Great. Just tread lightly, always double check with her, communicate. This is with open relationships. The biggest factor is communicating and making sure you're honest and you are both happy.
But that is the end of the story. We've got another one coming right up.
My wife's best friend developed feelings for me.
Tell her to go away.
Yes, I'm aware I'm going to sound arrogant and like a self-absorbed person. Get over it. My wife and I have known each other for a total of 20-ish years. We've dated for 9, married for 5. She's known her best friend, D, since the end of high school / early college. They're like sisters. By the way, this comes from user SamePoet8990. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I think we'll call D Denise. Denise has horrible luck with guys. Harmful relationships, toxic relationships. She's had it all and then some. I know this because she vents about it to my wife and me all the time. Recently, she just got through a particularly rough relationship, which she decided she was no longer going to date and just be single for a while. She began making comments to my wife about how lucky she is that she has me, and that it must make her feel so good to have a supporting, caring, loving man in her life to take care of her. This is when her behavior began to change. She's been very clingy to me, and she never was before. Now when she comes over, she's got her head on my shoulder, she sits in my lap. She tells me all the time that I make her feel safe and comfortable, and she always asks how my day is going and if I'm happy to see her. Or how I think her body looks in her outfit, which she kind of did before, but now she draws attention to her feminine areas. A joke was made by my wife about Denise being my second wife, to do all the stuff my wife doesn't feel like doing. Denise jumped onto this and now refers too often of herself as second wife. My wife thinks it's funny, and it was, until Denise sent me a picture of a ring she wanted, quote, Because even your second wife needs a ring. I have brought all of this up to my wife because I don't want to keep her in the dark about anything. And she just says things like, that's just her. Or, she doesn't mean anything by it. My fear is that Denise is getting what she's never gotten from any of her past relationships, like comfort or validation or safety, and that she will become attached to this kind of fantasy. I don't want my wife to think I'm doing anything behind her back, but as I've stated, she just brushes it all off. Am I just being too observant, or is there something there my wife isn't seeing? Thoughts. And there's some comments. SoCal Sunshine 10 says, just have 2 wives, problem solved, LOL. Momo Lafofo says, as a female with a lot of guy friends, there's a huge difference in confiding with someone and then sitting in someone's lap. That to me seems like there's more to it. I'd chat with your wife and see where she stands with it. OP says, she brushes it all off. I've brought up everything that's happened and left nothing out. Momo Lafofo says, you're also allowed to have boundaries. Just because she's okay with it, and even if your wife is, doesn't mean you are, and that deserves to be respected. I find it odd she doesn't see anything weird about it. Females are hyper aware of what they're doing. OP says, are you suggesting that my wife may see something there and not care? And there's an update. Thank you for everyone's input and advice on my situation. On that note, there are some questions I keep seeing, so I'll answer some below. Regarding the sitting in my lap, this has only happened twice. Both instances were at parties where there was no seating left where I was sitting. I actually offered her my seat, which she said thanks and sat on my lap. Yes, both times were in front of my wife, and she thought it was funny. So rather than make a scene by getting her off of my lap, I waited till an opportunity presented itself, like needing more food or drink or needing to go to the bathroom, etc. So is Denise hot, or am I attracted to her?
By society standards, she would be very attractive. By society standards, my wife would not be as attractive. That being said,
my wife is exactly what I want in a woman. Just speaking physically at the moment, my wife is short, very pale skin, long curly brown hair, and not skinny because of the children we have had together. I love my wife the way she is, and we're working together to help her lose the baby fat she wants to lose. Denise, on the other hand, is taller than me. I'm 5'10", tan skin, straight, dirty blonde hair, and skinny. Again, attractive, just not what I'm into.
I think we get a clear definition of this, and I think the wife maybe have low standards of herself and is like, you know what, I think this is good for you. She's really attractive, and I think you like her. Hopefully that's not the case, but that could be the case.
I'm just hoping it's like she's hyper secure in her relationship. Now on to the update. Talked to my wife about everything going on and my concerns about it, using some points people brought up in the comments. Turns out my wife is aware of the situation and is actually partially behind it. Apparently, she brought up the idea of, quote, using me to show her best friend what to look for in a guy was a good idea, but this has all gone a little farther than she thought it would. Forgive her, please. She had good intentions. Okay, thank God. So, we're both going to sit down with Denise and talk about everything next time she comes over. Comments from Gligster71. I think you all should just get unclothed and trust each other. I mean,
hey,
I think that's a horrible idea given the context we've gotten now. Bing Bong 69, your wife is the weird one here, and there's a second update. Let's just get into it. Denise came over. We all sat down at the table. The kids are at their aunt's for the night. I stated that I wanted everything to come out, all the cards on the table. I want to know everything. So here's what went down. Denise has always had awful luck with men. She vents to me and my wife about it all the time. During a conversation when I wasn't present, Denise had said something along the lines of, quote, wishing she could find a man like yours because she will never know what it feels like to be genuinely wanted and appreciated. My wife then made a bad decision and, in trying to comfort her friend, suggested treating me more like a boyfriend than just a good friend, nothing physical, just the support and comfort and validation for a little to get an idea of what to look for in a man. Your wife is 1,000% the weird one here, my guy.
Yeah, that is a weird thing to do. Another thing you could have done, hey, just look at the relationship I have with my man and, try to resemble something like that on the friendship level that I have with my man and, romantic level. Try to mimic that.
Denise said she was fine with that, but when she started to get it from me, she wanted more and more. I only have so much to give, and started to cross boundaries to get it, like the lap sitting and other stuff. I asked my wife about it, and she said it caught her by surprise, but didn't exactly make her uncomfortable with her friend. It was actually the mentioning of Denise wanting a ring that she finally started to see this was getting out of control. Wife said she realized she messed up, but didn't want to say anything to me about it. I explained to both of them very thoroughly about how ridiculous this entire thing is, how there are better ways we all could have helped, and how this could have destroyed friendships and marriages. They should have come to me, and we all could have figured out ways to help each other together. There were apologies from both parties. Denise is still our friend, and she'll be coming over in a few days for us to discuss how she can potentially work on herself and things to look for in men she has an interest in dating. My wife is very sorry to Denise and me about the entire thing. And by the way, you can listen to the entire thing, the thing being the OK Storytime archive, by going to Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts and just search the name of our show. We have over 67 days worth of stories to listen to.
Dude, good on the wife. Wife's really doing damage control here.
Really?
Yeah, she said, that was my bad. I'm really sorry about how everything's going on.
Oh,
I
think
miscommunicated this.
Yeah.
she's doing good.
I would call it more accountability. Because damage control is like OP, I feel. OP is the one who's like, this was all messed up. And then, like, her admission of, like, yeah, I've done this. And now he's the one being like, this is so crazy.
I feel like he's pointing out the damage that has been done, and she's like, okay, I'm taking responsibility in this, doing damage control.
Yeah. I do like the way that she was like, that was not the best move of me here.
I see what happened. I thought my friend would have a little bit more common sense than to pull this kind of stuff.
I just don't know if maybe Denise should be coming back this soon.
Oh, you think we should give her a little timeout?
Just a little space to maybe reset.
Okay. Okay.
Because, like, that's kind of an intense situation.
Yeah, trying to get with your best friend's husband. I'd agree.
So in the end, my wife made a mistake she is remorseful for, learned from, and will come out better for it. Denise will have help working on herself and working towards a healthier future. And then there's me. I'm tired and I want a drink. LOL. Thank you again, everyone, for your good words and advice. Ooh, excuse me. I'm sorry if this isn't the outcome you hoped or thought or predicted, but life is unpredictable, and I'm glad this is over. Oh, and there will be no ménage à trois. Jego Pin says, many are saying he fumbled a three-way. Honestly, I think OP's a solid dude, and he handled it awesomely. Not everything on the internet is a plot of a pornography. Yeah, I'm sure anyone saying that was, I would hope being sarcastic, because it's absurd. Chloe B95 says, I'm sorry, but your wife owes you a lot more than an apology. If the roles were reversed in this, so many people would be telling you to call the police and get a divorce lawyer, because it would be a wife who'd been pestered and physically harassed by her husband's friend, despite her clearly not wanting him to do it. But because your wife and her friend are women, no one is pointing out how serious this is to you. And in that scenario, everyone would be questioning why the husband would want to be friends with a man who is a man who spicily bothers his mates' wives. But again, no one's saying this to you, and you seem to think it's okay for your wife to continue her friendship with this woman, and frankly, it isn't. I mean, honestly, this is going into like way crazy territory. I'm cutting this off. That comment, some people just get a little extra about stuff. And like, was her behavior inappropriate? Yes. Did it cross lines?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think
is it like a prosecutable offense? Are we really gonna? I don't know if
like
sitting in someone's lap counts as that.
I feel like the wife did set up Denise for failure, saying, "Oh, da 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 da." Now she's looking back at it. It could have been innocent. I think it was all in innocent intent. But this is what happens. You say things in innocent consent. Come back, you reflect. Oh, maybe that wasn't innocent consent, and I need to do damage control. Love this story. Adding it to the SOP book.
I cheated on my wife with my colleague, but now she's hesitant.
About what?
Howdy. So, long story short, 2 years ago now, my marriage of 10 years was difficult. We had one kid who is currently 5, but we wanted 2, and we were attending relationship counseling. It felt like everything was getting better. We were working through our relationship issues and slowly making progress and could continue with our premeditated plan to have another kid. By the way, this comes from Born Information 914, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, both my wife, 37 female, and I, 34 male, had different issues with our marriage. She felt unappreciated amongst a large list of other things, and I was struggling with a complete lack of intimacy from her. We were able to work through these problems, but literally as soon as the positive pregnancy test came through, everything quickly fell apart. In the next relationship counseling session, the wife stated that during spicy sleep, she faked everything and pretty much hated everything about anything intimate with me. It was really hard to hear and completely destroyed my self-esteem. I couldn't even contact the relationship counselor to cancel or confirm the next session. I just ignored their emails. The wife went completely cold from this point on and spent literally no time with me and made zero effort.
Dude, you guys are done. Whew.
Sounds like it. I would probably go as far as saying that she made an effort to be cold and distant from me. The pregnancy and new baby were obviously exhausting, and I tried to cut her some slack for this, but when I look back on this time period now, they are some of the worst 2 years of my life when they should have been the best. I was extremely mad at my wife at times. We would rarely fight and actually got on with each other quite well during the day. But any attempts to kiss or get any affection from my wife were quickly rejected. Every few months, we would have a bit of a meltdown and need to stop and air our grievances. It felt like I was going back to square one during every discussion. There was a long list of things that I had to do before she would consider giving me affection, but it was tough and impossible for me to get everything right and definitely wouldn't end in me getting any affection. Even thinking about this now makes me feel exhausted. As the 2 years went by, the only thing keeping me there was the kids. My parents split when I was a kid, and before committing to having children, I swore that I would never abandon them and leave them feeling as I did. During our last discussion/argument, I wanted out, but I just powered through, thinking that I needed to do what is best for the kids, no matter what. I knew that I was lying to myself and to the wife, and I didn't mind being dishonest, as I could say that I was doing what's best for the kids as an excuse. Fast forward to August, we were having a big sales drive at work, and I was assigned to go on a 2-week sales trip across several states with a colleague. I picked up my relatively new colleague, 30 female, and drove her to the airport. Up until this point, I had barely noticed her or spoken to her. I try and be as professional as possible at work. I was dreading the trip. I had no self-esteem and didn't want to be annoying or uncool. I knew that we would need to spend lots of time together, and I just wanted to do the job well, and for her to at least have an okay time and not to hate me by the end of it. I have a feeling that they had a actually really great trip.
I think we're really having fun on this trip. You guys don't like each other.
Yeah.
Wow. You guys really don't like each other.
Yeah.
Like, a majority of this marriage has just been you guys don't like each other.
Yeah.
Like, her saying, I've never enjoyed any spicy stuff that we do. Ooh.
Yeah.
And then it just seems like you have to work hard for any of the affection that she's getting or that she's giving out. It's just, this is bad.
Right. It's just, this is not going well. Not going well, man. As we drove to the airport, we started talking, and we just didn't stop. We went to the bar, stayed up talking until 2 a.m., and then went to work starting at 8 a.m. the next day. We easily powered through the day somehow, despite the hangover, and did the same thing the next night. It turns out we have so much in common, and we're also both unhappy in our current relationships. Oh,
Stop!
no.
Stop!
The third night was the same, but at 2 a.m. the flirting progressed. We ended up kissing and went to the same room. Just like everything else, the spicy sleep was beyond amazing, but somehow this is almost a minor detail. Interesting. The rest of the trip was a dream. We spent 24 hours with each other, and that wasn't nearly enough.
You suck. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. You have no excuses.
Yeah. We would stay up until we literally couldn't keep our eyelids open. It was literally a dream, and everything was perfect until we realized the trip was ending. There were some tears. We both didn't want to go back to reality. We had realized by this time that we were deeply in love with each other. The final airport journey.
I'm sorry. You spent like how long with this girl? 3 days?
A few days.
Few days?
Yeah.
And you're deeply in love with her? This isn't a freaking
It's
Disney
not
Channel
true.
movie. You don't
It's
fall in
not
love with
true.
someone over 3 days.
Exactly.
This is ridiculous. Throwing away your marriage. I mean, it apparently sucks.
Right.
Leave your marriage, but throwing it away because you fell in love with someone over 3 days.
Yeah. The final airport journey was incredibly sad. She also said that no one can ever find out about this. She's from a very religious family in a rural, backwards country, and said that if any of her family or friends found out that she had split a family up, that she would be disowned. I got back home immediately and broke things off with the wife as gently as I could. I didn't tell the whole truth. I didn't want to hurt her feelings or have my new girlfriend disowned or have any complications at work. So fast forward to today. My colleague and I are crazily in love, but are also on and off. We are secretly dating outside of work, but things are bumpy to say the least. We've split up and gotten back together a few times. She's having great difficulty with the situation and needs to go to therapy to get through. We are great at the start of the week, but as Thursday approaches, when I have the kids, she breaks down. To complicate things, I spend a lot of time at the family home and haven't found a good place for myself yet. When things are going well between us, I feel invincible, have a lot more energy than the start of the year. But when things are rough, I have to deal with missing the kids on top of the sadness from the breakup. I feel extremely invincible, and now I'm also visiting a therapist. I want some stability in life and can't seem to get any for a long enough period of time to reassemble, find a good house in a decent suburb, and move in with my colleague, and it just seems as though things are getting worse.
I don't think she is married. She must not have a
It
partner.
said relationships. Like, we're both in bad relationships.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it
because
might
that's what I
not
was
be
remembering.
marriage.
So I guess maybe they're not married, but they were, or she was in a bad relationship.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The wife and I haven't publicly announced our separation, and this is also making things much harder for my new partner. She's only breaking up with me because the situation is hurting her badly, and she doesn't know if she even wants to be with me long term, even if everything was sorted. She wants to have her own kids and isn't sure that she wants to start again with someone who already has a family. By the way, you can always start again with us, whether you have a family or not, because we've got full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
Do it.
There is a little bit more to the story, but
Okay, so
yeah.
it seems like OP's like, oh my God, I cheated on my wife with my colleague who I am in love with after 3 days, and I left my wife for her, and she doesn't want to be with me? Like, no doy, dude.
Yeah, like,
The
on,
woman
man.
who like clearly didn't have the morals to not cheat on her partner and also to cheat with someone who's married and has kids.
yeah.
Maybe he's not gonna, want a long-term relationship with you.
Yeah, and I honestly want to know more details about like what problems the wife had in the relationship in the first place.
Yes,
Because I feel
he told us all about what she did, but
yeah.
not like why she felt unappreciated.
Yeah, because I think what a lot of men forget is that like for a lot of men, intimacy is the way to fix problems, and that
Yes.
solves things. But for a lot of women, intimacy isn't comfortable unless problems are already fixed, you know? So I have a feeling that is a part of it. But at the same time, if he was being truthful and if that's true that like he was really trying everything that he could and there were just so many things that just weren't working, and she's demanding so much or something like that, then I can understand, his position, not the cheating, but like, complaining about the intimacy. But yeah, dude, it just feels like there's not enough to this story because
Yeah, I feel like you're hiding things to
Yeah.
make yourself look better, but like
Right?
you cheated on your wife. Doesn't matter if you guys had a terrible relationship. You cheated on
Yeah.
her. Should have left her before you cheated on her.
right. And don't be surprised when your affair isn't a perfect relationship because it's not.
Yeah.
It's an affair.
It was an affair.
So apart from moving out, finalizing the separation and divorce, I really don't know what to do. I can keep trying with my new partner, even though it's hurting her and we are currently on a break. We love each other, but I know she's crying herself to sleep each night. Should I let her go? I think the world of her, and seeing her like this is terrible. There's probably still an option to pretend like nothing happened for the kids, but I don't even want to think about that. It'll certainly destroy me. Is it best if I end the new relationship? And there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, how does one give advice to a person as clueless as you?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole comment.
Yeah.
Comment number 2 says, maybe it's hurting her because she found her conscience and knows that someone who cheats on their partner or spouse and breaks up a child's home is not a good person.
Well, she even said it. She's like, I don't want to break up a home. And then you went, okay, I'm going to leave my wife and kids for you. And
yeah,
she
but
went,
we just won't tell
wait.
anyone.
No, I
Yeah.
broke up a family.
Yeah, like I think it's very possible that he didn't really realize that that meant that she didn't want to continue a relationship.
Yes.
Because I think either they both said or she said that like they don't know if they can have a relationship, like a long term. I think it did. She said she didn't know if she wanted a full time relationship with this
She did.
guy or
Yeah,
a full
she was
term.
like, I don't know if I want to continue this.
Yeah. So feel like you are a bit clueless here, bud. Comment number 3 says that that's not a thing about your relationship with your affair partner that will allow it to survive in real life. And that's what you are seeing now. Affairs are fantasy. There's no mortgage, no kids, no bills, no doing the dishes, no mowing the lawn. You each left your spouses for a fantasy of something that existed only in the liminal spaces of life, not on the main drag of real life. So, of course, it's not surviving your attempt to go legit after adultery. Your affair partner is struggling with your children because, as a parent herself, she knows how important they are and how much they need their father. But the affair is born of selfishness, and adulterers are selfish, so she wants your complete attention like she had on the trip. The cognitive dissonance is wearing on her. The two of you are best off going no contact with each other. Learn how to live as a single dad and be a good co-parent. Then start to date again in the real world. And someone else responds, just to add, have you self-reflected on how you went about all of this at all? What I mean is, you went on a trip for a few days with a colleague, had a few days of great spicy sleep and getting wasted, etc., and came home and decided that you were leaving your wife and child for a woman you barely know, for a woman you only spent a few days with. You have no idea how she would be as a step-parent. You have no idea if your child will adjust well to her. You have apparently already made these decisions that you want to live together without even knowing if this person will be a person who will be in the best interest of your child to live with. Do you not find that strange? You seem very focused on how this woman is adjusting to all of this, yet I have seen nothing mentioned on how your child is adjusting. What is your plan in helping your child adjust to a split household? Or have you shown any kind of concern of if your child will adjust well to having this new person in their life?
I don't think he's thought about his kid at all. I think he's thinking about his affair partner.
I agree. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of that comment. But yeah, I agree. He's definitely not thinking at all. I think, and this is something that it seems like a lot of parents struggle with from these stories. I'm not a parent. I don't know. But like, I feel like a lot of people think, oh, I'll just stay for the kids, when it's like, okay, but if you really wanted to do what's actually right for the kids, is to do what's right for yourself so that they could know, like, yourself and your wife, obviously, not just like go and cheat, but like be a good example of how you should choose your relationships in front of your kids,
Yeah,
like,
and you're choosing a
great.
person that you cheated on your wife with.
Yeah.
Fell in love with over 3 days.
Right.
And now like want to move in with her. That's not, you're not
Exactly.
really modeling good relationships here.
But that's the end of that story.
My stepmother blames me for alienating her child, but it's her own fault.
Send her to space so she's the alien.
E.T.
Phone
Phone
home.
home. So my 20 female dad is with his affair partner, Laura. He and Laura have a kid, Lucy, 13 female. Lucy was conceived after my dad, and Laura were already together for a while. Her birth wasn't the reason my parents split, in case anyone is wondering. By the way, this comes from user National Property 34, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Dakota.
But obviously my dad's family knew about the affair once my parents split, and they banned Laura from ever attending family events. To this day, the only people on that side of the family who have ever met her are me and my one cousin. That's crazy. Just 2 people who came to stay with me at my dad's for a few days one time. My grandparents told Dad they'd happily be active in Lucy's life, but it would have to be Dad that facilitated the relationship, meaning he'd have to bring her to see them alone. Laura said no. I guess she thought eventually she'd force herself into the family through Lucy, but all it did was mean no one ever met Lucy, and that sucks for Lucy. My dad would take me to my grandparents' or aunt's place without Laura and Lucy, and that was just how it went. Well, it recently came up that my grandparents were giving me money towards buying an apartment when I graduate, which set Laura off. She's always been bitter that my grandparents financed my schooling, but my dad paid for university.
What?
Just-
Okay.
You're upset,
What?
Laura, because the granddaughter's getting stuff from the grandparents and she's loved unconditionally because, I don't know, OP's not scummy?
Yeah, Katie Paladin says, can anyone say projection? Yeah.
She was passive-aggressively grumbling at the dinner table that this is why she felt we could have asked them to pay for my university and that it would be nice if Lucy got to have grandparents. But some people are petty and cruel. You are.
She could have had grandparents if you hadn't isolated her. If you had just been like, yes, Lucy can totally go to the family events with her dad, she would know all these people.
I looked at my dad like, are we really playing that game? But he didn't say anything. Then Laura turns to Lucy and goes, you should know none of this is your fault. Life isn't fair, and you got the short end of the shtick with certain family members. So I just said, yeah, the short end of the stick family member is you, Laura.
Burn.
Here's some ice for that burn.
Crazy.
Lucy could have had the same relationship with my grandparents that I do, but you were so selfish that you screwed your own kid out of that. Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Laura argued that no one who hated her could have a relationship with her daughter. So I was like, well, what are you mad about then? That your principals ended up sabotaging your kid? Maybe that's on you.
I will say, though, like, I don't think that it's always fair for the kids to be put in the middle of things like this.
No.
Like, I think it really sucks that Lucy couldn't have that.
That's
and I
really
feel like
effed
at
up,
some
yeah.
point, like, okay, fine. She was your dad's affair partner. We don't like her. We don't need to like her. But we can still lighten this ban a little bit for the sake of the literal child that they have together.
Yeah, but Laura also needs to understand, like,
but she's not going to be
you
liked.
can't. Yeah, you can't. You're not going to
Right.
be liked. You are the sole reason for one, Lucy having no relationship with any of the family members, and two, the reason why everything's so messed up.
Right.
Because of you. I mean, yes, you're OP's father too, 100% involved in that. At this point, my dad was just giving me a passing stare, so I just went back to my food. Laura sent me a text later that night about how much she didn't appreciate me saying that in front of her child, and that it was her prerogative how she managed that relationship. She also said my dad's family are cruel and vindictive. I hate Laura.
Yeah, they're the cruel and vindictive ones. Your
Yeah.
dad had an affair.
Oh.
He caused this.
Here's my tiny little violin. Do you like that? I don't care. This is your fault. So, back to the story. OP doesn't reply, and honestly, the only reason I don't have her blocked is in case my dad is taken ill suddenly. But now my dad is saying it's caused issues at home because Lucy is finally grasping that Laura is the one who wouldn't allow her to have a relationship with dad's side. And now is apparently pretty mad about it. Yeah.
Good job, Lucy.
He's saying the way I went at Laura was inappropriate in front of a child. She's not a child. And that Lucy shouldn't have heard all that. But I think she only heard it because her mother was retconning reality. I didn't mean to cause an issue between Lucy and Laura, but honestly, I do feel like Laura was asking for it by acting like an idiot in front of someone who knew the whole story. Just to clarify, no, my dad's family didn't immediately forgive him. For a long time, they only invited him to things if he brought me during his custody time. But time heals most things. They all still think he's a prick, but honestly, I'm sure they thought that before. No, they haven't totally cut him out because we're just not that kind of family. But Laura was never family to start with. So it's way easier to never make her an acquaintance than to cut her out on your own blood relative that you've known for 40 years. I think that's fairly obvious, right? I am not mad that Laura set the boundary she did, and I'm not mad my parents got divorced. I got mad that Laura set a totally fair boundary, again, that my dad went along with, not saying he's blameless, he's just not the one actively complaining, and then tried to pretend that the consequences of said boundary shouldn't have happened. If you don't want your kid around people who don't like you, again, understandable in this scenario, why are you whining that you're not around for your kid? And we have some comments. Carly.
I think that every person in this story needs to lighten up a little bit in some way, but I think Laura has to do the most of like you did this to yourself. It's again like you dug this. Sorry guys. Lie in it now.
Yeah, it's like,
At the same
why
time,
don't they
though,
like me?
like if it's been at least 13 years, presumably because of Lucy,
Maybe a little bit longer, yeah.
right? Probably longer. Like, couldn't we start just trying to see who they are as people? Like, couldn't we let them in a little bit with the understanding that no one needs to like anybody?
Yeah, it's a little bit of that whole dynamic is
I'm just
one
like,
thing,
yeah.
but for Lucy's case,
It's because they have Lucy that I'm kind of like, could we have lightened up a little bit so that that boundary didn't go? But at the end of the day, if Laura's always going to be like, if these people don't like me, she can't come. Like, Laura needs to lighten up the most.
and now Lucy's finding out the truth, which is
Right.
insane.
And a lot to find out at 13.
Yeah, but we have some comments. Comment number 1. Not the a-hole. She's 13, and it's better she knows her mom was the issue and not her child's self. I wouldn't be surprised if she starts asking you for hard truths going forward because her mom spins crap, so she's always the victim. I assume Lucy knows her mom wasn't a fair partner initially. I can't imagine the fantasy her mom spun about them being destined and nothing, not even a wedding ring, could stop their love. It sucks the rest of the family cut her loose to avoid her mother. Lucy's innocent, and too many kids end up ostracized with this kind of thing when they should have just saved the rage and freeze out for the actual guilty parties. OP says, I honestly couldn't answer this. I barely see Lucy and Laura. I presume she knows. I remember I threatened to tell her when I was like 14, but I never did. But obviously, she was way younger then. She probably knows now. I would hope she knows. And there's a reply. She really might not know. Laura might have lied / omitted to save face. And she has no contact with the family, so if you didn't, and your cousin didn't during the one visit, and her parents didn't, don't be shocked if she comes to you someday for answers.
Yeah.
Just be kind when you tell her the truth and do it in person, because she's gonna flip out at 13. If she asks you one day, I hope she's older. Or your dad will nut up and tell her. And there is an update. First thing that happened. Laura would not stop texting me.
Hey.
Not like constantly, but once or twice a day about her feelings or demanding a response / conversation. No response is a response, Laura. This middle-aged woman having a crash out via WhatsApp was not on my bingo card. But eventually, I just had to tell her I don't want to block her because I do want to be there for my dad in an emergency. But I was going to if she didn't stop bothering me. More crash out material. I called my dad and told him to get his household under control because this was getting crazy. I wasn't going to apologize to her. And in my whole life, I've never had as much contact with this woman as I had in this past week. And I wouldn't allow it to continue. My dad was kind of getting that it was an actual issue now. And I pushed him a bit, and the dam broke. So, the wider context I was not aware of is that Lucy's only now putting the pieces together of how Dad and Laura got together.
Yeah.
Again, we couldn't assume that she knew. She vaguely knew about the affair, but I guess she's finally getting what that means now that she's older, and how much damage it did. And she's been asking a lot of hard questions about it and has been really down about it. That's probably why Laura was so triggered by the mention of my grandparents and in a rush to put her spin on it. But since the dinner, Lucy has really been raking Laura over the coals for it. Apparently, because she knows my dad would have let her see the extended family were it not for Laura. My dad also shared that Laura basically feels like she spent a large chunk of her life being punished for the affair, and it's now weighing on her because of how hard Lucy is taking it. Oh, it took you this long. We have a side note. A lot of people were rightly roasting my dad for the affair. But if the above should prove anything, it's how much he is the definition of a roach. The way this man manages to get away with diabolical behavior, relatively unscathed, is shocking. I was going to say, yeah, they let him back over time, but...
Yeah. And for a while, it was only if he was bringing OP.
Yeah. The second thing that my dad said, and uncharacteristically admitted, was an F-up. Was telling Laura that probably part of the reason no one ever eased up on meeting her was because they all knew I can't stand her. So he's throwing you under the bus.
So he's lying.
Yeah, the dad is no angel here. And I hold my hands up because I did a lot of bad-mouthing Laura back in the day to my grandparents and aunts because, well, I don't like her. And when you're a teenager, you think that needs to be everyone's problem. I don't think this is as big a reason they still won't meet her as my dad probably made it seem. But he did admit he threw me under the bus for it ages ago, and Laura has never forgotten it.
Oh my god. Boo-hoo.
And by the way, I don't want you to forget that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime. 70 days.
70
and counting.
days.
And counting.
Crazy.
Kaba is a god. You know what kind of roach. The pee-pee roach.
Okay. Feel like the other word would have been better.
There's a little bit left, but I think we've said it multiple times now.
Yeah.
Like,
A sucky situation. I don't really know if there is much of an outcome for this, though, besides, like, is there a way that Laura will lighten up to let Lucy meet these people? And if she's not, you're kind of still back to where you were, unless we deem Lucy as, like, they can see that Lucy's old enough to want that and make her
Bingo.
own decision.
Bingo. That's
But
what I was going to say.
At the end of the day, Laura, at 13, she still could be like, you're not going.
Which is crazy.
Which would be crazy.
This is where you text Lucy and be like, hey,
Pick
hey,
me
hey,
up.
we want to sneak
I'll get
out?
you.
You want to meet Grandpa and Grandma? We'll get ice cream.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and finish the story. She thinks me poisoning the well is the whole problem. So that's probably got a lot to do with her complaining at me specifically. My dad did acknowledge that it was a mistake to tell her that, or tell her what was said, and while I wouldn't go around talking bad about Laura now, I don't feel bad about sharing my feelings with my family at the time. I did ask my dad if Lucy was going to be allowed contact with the grandparents. But Laura is still saying no. This is where your dad needs to be like, that's not
bad,
fair to
so
Lucy.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where you give a phone to Lucy and be like, text Grandma and Grandpa, give them a call,
Right.
introduce yourself.
Right.
If you want. I'm not going to force you. But if you are really yearning for that, and I think you are, this should be allowed. However, he said she's close to cracking just because of how much of a hard time Lucy's giving her. So he's going to wait it out. Your dad sucks too.
Also, though, I could 100% see a 13-year-old girl being able to wear down her mom until she says yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like Lucy will probably, hopefully, get what she wants pretty soon.
We don't have much context in Lucy, but a 13-year-old girl,
That's what I'm saying.
especially when she's really wants something and she's
getting all
very
this new
upset
stuff.
getting all this new
Yeah.
stuff, she can break you down in a snap.
Lucy's gonna be meeting those grandparents.
Yeah, she's like, you're the reason I
Yeah.
can't meet my grandparents. You're the reason that nobody likes me. You're the reason.
I just hope that the grandparents will be super open to meeting. Like, and they're willing to meet, but I hope that they are super, like, arms open for Lucy. They still do not have to be for Laura, but Lucy is innocent in all of this. So I hope that if Lucy's able to get out to meet them, they are very like, it's so great to meet you, and like, well, tell us about yourself. I told my wife to wear a different swimsuit because I was uncomfortable.
Itsy bitsy, teeny weeny, yellow polka dot bikini.
My wife, 27, and I, 28, have been vacationing through Europe for the past week and will continue on for another week. We're fortunate to spend 2 weeks in Mallorca.
Mallorca! Oh, okay, we're in España.
In Spain.
Mallorca.
We've been doing this same trip for the past couple of years. Since my wife is from Europe, we usually visit family towards the end of the trip. By the way, this comes from Uncurved Approach, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, this year, 2 couples we're good friends with joined us. One couple had planned to come with us in 2022, but had to cancel due to an unexpected pregnancy. This year, they managed to arrange for the grandparents to watch their 2-year-old so they could join us. Another mutual couple, who also have kids, heard about the trip and asked to come along as well. The 6 of us met up in Barcelona and flew into Mallorca together. The trouble actually started before the trip because since we've been to Spain before, I know my wife likes to enjoy the European culture by wearing skimpy bathing suits and often going topless or even fully. While I've grown accustomed to it, I still feel a bit strange knowing she's topless or in public. I understand that it's my own preconceived American prudity, but I try to see it from her perspective and respect that it's her body and her choice. She does have a great body, so I can't complain. However, knowing my friends and their wives, and knowing some background information that one has struggled with body image issues after having kids, I hinted that maybe this time she should pack something with a bit more coverage. She got annoyed and asked what I meant. I explained that I thought it would be awkward if she dressed as she usually does with all our mutual friends around. This didn't go over well. We finally agreed to disagree, and she said she wouldn't go topless near anyone we knew. For the first few days, we rented a sailboat with a captain, so there was lots of sun. My wife didn't go topless, but wore the skimpiest bikini she must have bought before the trip because I had never seen it before. It's basically a thong and a tiny top. While she looks amazing in private, it felt awkward in front of our friends and the captain. She was dressed quite differently from everyone else. I argued with her and asked her to please wear another swimsuit, but she said I was overreacting and acting like her dad, if not being misogynistic. She's right that in terms of what you do on a beach in Spain, it's not that crazy. However, you wouldn't see this in parts of the US we are from. Am I overreacting here? We just finished the sail trip, but have another 5 days on the beach with this argument still ongoing. My friends haven't said anything, but I almost feel them judging. Both other wives have very conservative swimsuits, and I might be going crazy, but I do feel like they are judging her. I don't see why it's such a big deal to wear a more conservative swimsuit just to make sure everyone is comfortable.
Ooh, okay. I get it. You're in paradise and you want to treat it like paradise. And I feel like if you do this every time, and this is like the one
She
time,
normally goes topless every
Yeah,
time, so
yeah.
she is covering up
she's
more.
covering up a little bit more.
My thing is, dude sounds a little insecure.
100%. Because
This
it wasn't now. It was also before when she was
Right.
going nude in the
Right.
beach and doing what everyone else is doing.
He's always had these problems. He has a reason to express them now.
Yeah.
And my dude, you sound really insecure.
Yeah.
And your wife sounds confident AF.
Yeah. And
grew up there. This is normal for her.
yeah, and you're also it's a thing where you are also assuming for everybody.
Right.
Yes, it could become with that notion that someone has body issues or body image issues, but
That's their own thing
That's
too.
their
You can't
own
always
thing.
accommodate for everybody else's thing.
yeah,
Like that. You can here's my thing. The girls talked, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure bathing suits has been discussed amongst them, and if there was problems, they would have expressed it.
Mm-hmm.
They're friends.
Yeah.
They're chatting.
Yeah, no, this definitely feels like you're using an excuse for your friends. You're like, you need to cover up a wee bit more, and you're like,
She already is covering up a wee
Yeah.
bit more, though.
for the European standards. This is the norm. That's the norm.
Yeah. You said it at the beginning. It is her body. It is her choice what to wear on it.
Yeah.
She negotiated enough to not go nude.
Yeah.
If your friends were uncomfortable, they'd say it. I think you're projecting, but we'll see.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
We have some comments, though.
Yeah.
Comment 1. Your friends joined you, not the other way around. She was planning on doing this. You knew it. So next time, don't invite those friends. You are allowed to feel uncomfortable, but you can't force her. Honestly, I would change my clothes if it makes my husband that uncomfortable, but it would be the last time I would travel with those friends, and I would be mad the whole time. Comment 2. Please let her enjoy. I'm a plump woman, and seeing other women enjoying their bodies is so wonderful to me, even if they're tiny and fit. Do you think a few inches more of fabric will really change anything? These are your friends. You trust them not to lose their minds over, right? Lastly, I will let you know that when I started working on my insecurities, personal and ones related to my relationship, that's when my marriage became better than ever. Working on our insecurities has given us a new level of trust, appreciation, and security that I didn't even know was possible. I highly recommend it. And Opie says, thanks for the response. That makes sense. Maybe it's my own insecurities at play. And then someone replied, no maybe about it, bud. You're stressing about if your friends are judging your wife and if one of the women is insecure because of her own body weight. That's weird to me, by the way. Instead of worrying if your wife is happy and confident in her own body and enjoying her vacation. These are your issues and no one else's. You should do some self-reflection and let your wife be. Comment 3 says, My 78-year-old mother-in-law is from Spain and has been in the US for like 50-ish years. When she is on the beach where we live, she wears appropriate swimwear to the beaches where we go. She is comfortable on the beach in Spain when she takes her yearly trip. That means sometimes she's wearing a wrap, or sometimes she's topless and pretending to be a starfish while taking a nap.
Aw.
It isn't a bad thing we need to be afraid of, but especially when you're in a place where it is allowed and somewhat expected, you are overreacting. Have an update, too.
Yeah, I feel like the filter, I mean, that's just like the US filter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like all around the world, it's not speaking on every single country, but it's very common. Nudity is a thing.
Right.
And like, it's like breathing air. It's natural. It's like everyone's got it. Everyone, who cares? Like, great.
Also, the way he described the bathing suit as like the tiniest thing ever, I feel like it's a fairly normal top and it's just a thong bottom. And he's like, oh my God.
Who knows? But
Which are also becoming more popular in the US now, too.
yeah. And I feel like there are actually some beaches in the US that
Yeah.
are actually you're allowed to be topless.
Oh,
don't-
yeah,
yeah.
I think so.
I don't think about full, but I think at least topless.
Shame.
Yeah. But
Be
Yeah.
ashamed.
OP, again, we've already said our piece and all the comments pretty much agreed with us.
Be ashamed.
This is more on you than anything else.
Yeah.
You can't assume for people.
She would know if her girlfriends were uncomfortable. Someone would have said something. I'm
Yeah.
sure there would have been some comment like, oh, wow, like,
And
nice bathing suit.
again, the comment, I think that's best. Like, you are allowed to be uncomfortable, but
Yeah, but you can't
Ugh.
change it.
you can't change
Bruh,
it.
it's free not to look. You know how cheap it is to be like, now I can't see anything.
And we have an update. I thought I would post a quick update. The only reason I posted it is because I honestly could not see my wife's point of view on it even after discussing it with her multiple times. I was stuck on why it is so hard to just wear a different swimsuit to avoid any potential issues. I was in the doghouse for a couple of days, but we are off the sailboat and on the beaches now, for the last part of the trip with the friends. After things calmed down, my wife read the post and she thinks I inaccurately depicted the story in some places.
Uh-oh, yeah.
But she also sort of saw where I was coming from a little bit more in some other ways. The correction being her bikini she chose to wear is not really that crazy.
Yep.
Yes, it's a thong and super revealing, but she thinks I made it sound like she was wearing a G-string with 2 shells covering her. That's
Yeah,
exactly
we're
how
s-
you made it
We're
sound.
straight up seeing her beehole.
Yeah. It's okay. We knew what it,
Behold.
My beehole.
we knew what it really looked like. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It would be something you would see on a European beach, maybe even American, regularly. I think being on a boat and not in a beach setting, just with 6 people, somehow made it feel more intimate and noticeable what she was wearing. Not sure how to explain that. After thinking about it and talking to her, I will admit I was also uncomfortable with my friends seeing my wife's body, which is immature. It's not my property, as many people and she told me. The part that started the main argument, which I left out,
Oh, okay.
was we were all in the cockpit of the boat, the part where it has the wheel to drive, which is kind of below, and there is a sunbathing part directly in front of that. My wife was laying on her stomach, facing away from us. Her thong wasn't positioned totally correctly, and you could see a bit more than I think was meant to be seen.
Her beehole.
My friend just kept looking and losing focus on the conversation. It was kind of embarrassing. He and the other husband were looking before this, but this, for some reason, just got to me.
That's when you like.
Still your own insecurities.
That's when you
though,
literally like.
but-
That's when you literally like pat him on the thing. You're like, hey, eyes up here.
Right, make a joke out of it or
And
something.
you're like, oh, you see what I'm seeing?
I don't know why, but him being my longtime friend, and it's not like he's a creepy guy usually at all, but it just made me way more uncomfortable than I thought it would. I, for some reason, didn't want to blame him. I know this is wrong, but when I first went to a nude beach in Europe, my eyes wandered. But for some reason, it being my wife and him being my friend just made me cringe. I told my wife later that she was flashing us, but in a rude way.
Oh my god.
I should have approached it from a different angle because this is the part where things went south. I think I was just projecting the frustration of the entire situation on her, which was unfair. The only part that sort of changed things is the one wife was actually uncomfortable and obviously noticed her husband staring at my wife. She ended up telling my wife privately that it was hard. I don't want to go into specifics, but she didn't directly blame her, but it was kind of obvious she didn't enjoy the situation. My wife felt bad as she had no intention of causing any issues. She truly didn't think it would be a problem. She truly sees completely different than any of us. She will be unclothed in front of her friends and family and not even think about it. That is just coming from a completely different context than any of the other people on the trip. By the way, you can take a trip to listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app. Just go there and search OK Storytime. We got some more. Any other thoughts?
Dude, you can be uncomfortable with it, but this is just gonna be how it's gonna be. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
This is how she grew up. This is normal.
Yeah.
For her.
For her. For a lot of the world.
And it was totally fine with you anytime that you guys have gone in the past.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've had problems with it. Why would she expect there to be a difference?
The only thing is, like, if she was gonna be nude, is like, hey, guys.
But they talked about
Yeah,
that, and
exactly.
she knew that was a boundary, so she said, I will not be nude around them.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered all our tracks here.
In her mind, she wasn't even unclothed. So what is the big deal? She wasn't. There was a bathing suit slip, and you guys stayed in the room.
Yeah.
However, she did say, knowing what she knows now, she wouldn't want to cause issues in someone else's marriage, no matter if she completely disagrees with it on principle. She thought I was definitely overreacting at first and being jealous, and she still does. But she says I probably had an easier time from my perspective seeing that potential issue. On a positive note, we are not divorcing. This didn't ruin the trip.
Where did
and
that
the
come
other
from? Where did that come from?
If that was where this was heading,
That was a
dude, you got
huge
some
jump.
issues.
Whoa.
And the other wife and her went to a secluded beach, and she, the other wife on the trip, tried going topless for the first time in her life and loved it.
Yes, exactly. And you're like, guys, I'm taking my pants off. You want to do it with me?
They
It
said
feels
topless,
great.
but yeah.
Well, I mean, no, but like
for the guys.
for the guys, like, all right, if like no one's gonna be bothered by it, we're all friends here.
Yeah.
It's the same thing like when like I haven't done it with Dakota, but if we go to the spa, if we go to the spa, you have to get like, all right, you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. You're like, ha ha, like
Yeah.
what it is. I would certainly be like, ha ha.
Okay. Edit. I asked for her to come hang out and move quickly after I noticed. I asked her to come hang out and move quickly after I noticed she had an issue with her swimsuit. We have some comments. Comment 1. So this entire saga could have been solved by sacking your friend on the shoulder and saying, eyes on your own wife, dude. And going out and whispering in her ear that she has a slight wardrobe malfunction. Instead, you made it into her problem. Exactly what Keon said. Reply, or everyone got unclothed.
Exactly as Keon said.
That's the end of that story.
Wow.
My wife's best friend kissed me. What do I do now?
Tell your wife, stupid.
This happened on Friday, and I've taken the weekend to process it, but I still don't know what to do. I, 26 male, somehow ended up kissing my wife's 28 female best friend, who we'll call Amy, 24 female.
Somehow.
By the way, this comes from Throwaway Secret Cat, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And OP says, on Friday, Amy needed someone to pick up her 3-year-old from daycare since she was working late and had a date planned. I didn't know about the time or the date. Amy is a single mom who left her harmful ex not long after their kid was born and is still involved in ongoing custody and harmful cases in court. My wife and I have been helping with childcare since the breakup, as Amy's ex and his family are apparently unreliable, and her own parents seem to have a similar attitude. We often help with daycare pickups or weekend babysitting, especially since Amy works odd shifts at the hospital. I spend more time with the kid because I work a regular 9 to 5, and my manager is more relaxed than my wife's crazy schedule and boss. So, sounds like you're a dad, OP.
Father.
Dad or daddy?
He's probably trying to get a promotion to daddy.
Daddy motion.
None of this has ever been an issue. In fact, it's helped my wife and I prepare for having our own child someday and understanding the work that goes into parenting. We also know Amy is going back to school in the fall to study healthcare and will likely need continued support with childcare. Our friends have pointed out that I have been playing dad for a kid that's not mine. And this is what changed my wife's and my mind on actually wanting our own kids. What does that mean? Like, you want kids now because you like being a dad, or I don't want kids now because I actually have a kid in a way.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was like a, well, we already mission accomplished without realizing it, or if it's like, let's have our own.
Let's breed our own. Friday, I picked up the kid from daycare after work and stopped for groceries before heading home to pick up my wife and go to a friend's place for game night. They're also great with having the kid around. Around 8 p.m., Amy texted my wife to say she was on her way over to pick the kid up. When she arrived, she looked exhausted. I packed up the kid's things and carried him to the car and just made out with Amy.
Wait.
Whoa.
I made that last part up.
No, he made that up because he's a trickster.
Yeah, I'm a troll.
He's Loki.
Okay.
He's our Loki. He's the little chaos princeling.
I know what's about to happen, but it just doesn't make sense
I don't know.
so far. I don't get a, nothing smells fishy.
Let's see what happens.
While swapping the car seat back to Amy's car, we made small talk about her day. That's when she mentioned her day had flaked. He found out from a friend that she had a kid and hadn't told him. This isn't the first time it's happened. My wife has told me about similar situations, and once Amy's ex even pestered one of her dates who was likely a great fit 3 dates in. From what I understand, Amy prefers to disclose that she has a kid in person rather over text, as it's likely a touchy subject. She started crying, so I buckled up the kid in and turned back to comfort her. Being the socially awkward penguin that I am, I didn't know how to handle the situation. So I awkwardly pat her on the head, which felt wrong.
Like,
So I offered a hug.
What is she, a dog?
What the
Like, oh yeah, good girl.
Stop crying.
the adult?
Yeah.
The adult, you patted her on the head like a dog? Okay.
During-
Stop crying. Quit it.
Please. During the hug, Amy looked up and kissed me. I froze.
Where?
By the time I processed what had happened, she pulled away and said she should get home to bed. Wasn't even romantic. What the heck? I was stunned and didn't know what to do. So I went back inside and continued game night.
What do you mean? You tell your wife that her BFF kissed you on the mouth or whatever.
But like,
Did she even? What if? Yeah.
but if you saw my poker hand, you'd understand.
Why are your lips so red, huh?
What do you mean?
Like if you knew I had like pocket aces, would you continue game night or would you go tell your wife? You have pocket aces.
I would probably finish
Yeah,
that
what if you-
hand. I
Yeah,
would
what if you have
probably
like
finish that
longest
hand.
road in Catan and you're 1 point away from winning
And
it?
you're almost getting largest army.
Yeah.
I would
Like you are literally
probably-
1 victory point away from winning. I'd, be like, I
I'd
gotta win this.
immediately, I would at least send a text and say, hey, I have something crazy to tell you when I get home tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I told my wife that Amy's date had flaked. I know Amy caught her up on the details of the failed date on Saturday because my wife spilled the tea, but there was no mention of the hug or kiss.
Mm.
I haven't told my wife about the kiss. I'm not sure what to do. Part of me thinks I should tell her, but I worry she will lose a friend over what I believe was a lapse in judgment on Amy's part.
Bruh, you're describing why people lose friends. Their friend had a lapse in judgment and kissed their husband. Bye. Goodbye. Bye, friend. Bye, at least for now. Bye, friend. Not friends anymore.
And yes, I am aware I'll get my fair share of judgment from Reddit and from my wife for not telling her right away. I'll deserve it. Was this cheating? We have an update. The perspective of it is cheating if you do not tell right away. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say it kind of looks like it.
It wasn't cheating until you're like, I'm not going to tell my wife about it. Now you're weird for that.
Yeah.
And it definitely feels like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. But we have an update. If you haven't read the previous post, it's clear that I had a lot to take away from this situation and to work on. Clear up a couple of questions and comments. Our friend group has a 13-year age gap from youngest to oldest. Most of us have or had siblings in the group, which is why we have such an age difference. Because he's like 28 and she's 24. Okay. Here we go. I'm autistic and I have an issue with dealing with most uncomfortable situations.
Hey, now I feel bad about making fun of you for being socially awkward penguin.
I
but
knew that was going to come
also,
and bite you in the butt somehow.
I don't really care. I still stand that it's if you get kissed by your wife's best friend, you need to go, oh, what just happened?
Yeah.
Why did you do this?
Exactly.
I don't really, especially if you have the awareness that happens to you, you need to also have the awareness that you need to work on it.
Yeah. Agreed. The kiss was on the lips, and yes, I froze in the situation. It didn't come across to me as anything other than odd. I thought about telling my wife right away, but was uncomfortable doing so in front of the others, so I didn't at the time. It was playing on my mind for the rest of the game night and had me unsure what it was and if it was important to tell her. After the initial post, I left work early to inform my wife what happened on Friday. After 2 long hours, we had a few things to deal with. We agreed I was wrong for not telling her right away about it, which is no surprise, but she was thankful I told her. We promised to work on our relationship and communication. Okay, they worked it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clear like you weren't like hiding it from her because you're like, oh no, like I'm gonna get in trouble. It was more just like a, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Do I do? What do I do?
I don't know. He knew
When
what
do
to
I
do. Usually whatever the hardest thing to do is in your mind is what you have to do.
Yeah.
So after work the following day, following commenters' advice, we took a trip to get out of town for a few days and go camping. This has helped us reconnect and remind us why we got married in the first place. We got back to town today, and my wife had invited Amy over in the evening to discuss what happened. My wife decided that she wanted to further talk about what happened in person after she spoke to her initially on Monday. The conversation on Monday with Amy. Following your advice, I suggested that my wife call Amy to confirm my story. So she did. Amy immediately confessed before my wife even had a chance to confront her fully. Amy said that she has been struggling recently and she needed support. The failed date and seeing me play father figure along with seeming to care about her day made her feel wanted. She said that she felt awful immediately and that it was why she rushed home. This call went on for nearly an hour, where we discussed how we felt hurt as a couple and how we need to set up some boundaries. We agreed that we would be stepping back from helping her and the kid for the time being, but agreed that if we were to help again, my wife would deal with the most of it. My wife and I agreed that I wouldn't be left alone with Amy for some time to be sure. And this includes game nights. Amy said that she understood how we felt and continued to show remorse. So my wife, for some reason, invited her over today, Friday. So the two of them spoke for a few hours today about everything. They went back over the boundaries and what was expected if Amy was going to remain friends with us. Against what I think is the right choice, my wife and Amy are going to continue as friends for now. We are still going to help out, but the interactions that I have with Amy will be limited as I am still not 100% sure of the whole situation. Which is fair. Fair.
I don't know. This all seems a little too much to me.
Really? I think this is great.
I think, yeah, maybe that's just me.
I know many of you will be against this, but we have set some ground rules on how often we'll help her out. Amy agreed that looking for a partner right now will be the last thing on her list, and she will be focusing on her child, work, and mental health. Amy is already in counseling and is likely needing to spend more time there. We agreed that this was something not to be discussed with the wider of our friend group, as we are sure they all have very different opinions, and we all want to keep the peace. One key boundary that I think has made a massive difference on the outcome of this and hopefully helped Amy understand the situation and how I felt is that I won't be carpooling with Amy to work when she gets back to university in September. Less alone time. I work in the next city over, not far from the university. Before all this happened, I agreed to take Amy into the city on my way to work for the few days she has in-person classes, as I will already be making the trip, and especially in the winter, the roads can get dangerous. I feel bad for this, but it was one of the things my wife had reminded me that I would have to be alone with her in the car for some time. Depending on how things go, I might be willing to offer this again, but not sure if it's the right thing to do. My wife has gone to bed early tonight as camping takes a toll on the body, and I am left wondering about this whole thing, and hopefully things will go back to some sort of normal soon. And you know what's not normal? Is how many episodes we have ready for you right now on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime on iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple, and look at the 71 days of podcasts we got for you. That is not normal. I feel like this story, we should all implement a rule in our lives to never ask another woman that's not our girlfriend's how their day's going alone.
how are our wait, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, so I'm saying that we have girlfriends.
Mm.
We should not ask anyone that's not our girlfriend, that is a woman, how their day's going, because they might kiss us.
I can't even see women who aren't my girlfriend.
So everyone there, I'm not asking how your day's going. I can't talk to you.
Keep it up. Yes. That's the energy I like to see.
I don't know who you are.
Yes.
You know, I'm not even here.
And I bet you $10 you're not going to get kissed.
Well,
Oh, dude. I mean, yeah, that was the whole problem here is he asked her how her day was, and he got kissed.
Yeah.
But we have a little bit left here. Our marriage seems to be still intact, and we have shared a lot and discussed the feelings we both have been having about other issues in our relationship. Our marriage isn't perfect, but we are going to work on it and promise not to let things like this happen again. Turns out, when you communicate effectively, you both find out the things that annoy us about the relationship, which made the whole kiss issue the least concerning. We both have a lot to work on when it comes to our relationship as a whole, but it's something we are both willing to work on. I'm not sure if keeping Amy as a friend was a good idea, but I will have to see how this goes before approaching my wife. This was the right thing to do, and yeah. Also, if this is your least concerns in your relationship, I don't know.
I mean,
That kind of rubbed me a little bit in the wrong way.
I don't know. Yeah, I think
Like, all right, your friend kissed me, but it looks like we have other things to work on rather than that.
well, I mean, it does kind of read like yeah, you need to learn how to stick up for yourself and talk properly, confront people,
Yeah.
confront each other. 'Cause in your relationship, you still have to be able to confront the person that you're in a relationship with.
Yeah.
My wife wants to disown her daughter, and it's ruining our family.
How about you don't do that?
Yes, there's also a trigger warning for homophobia. My 40 male wife, Laura, 40 female, and I have been together for 10 years, married for 7. My relationship with Laura has always been great. She had a lot of pain from her ex, but she always was the kindest person I knew. I fell for her pretty quickly and knew almost right away I wanted to marry her. And by the way, this comes from a throwaway user, 938757292. I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon,
And I'm Sophia.
and that's Carly in the back.
Oh, yes.
And let's see what OP has to say. Laura has a daughter, Riley, 19 female,
Oh.
from her previous relationship. I didn't meet Riley until a year into our relationship, and she did not warm up to me right away. She has a complicated relationship with her dad, who has been in and out of her life and resented her mom for dating at all. I tried to be understanding and didn't try to fill a father role in her life, and I gave her space. Things were especially hard for a few years after they moved in with me about a year into our relationship. Riley acted out a lot. She broke anything I'd give her, was getting into trouble at school a lot, and constantly told us both that she hated us and wanted to live with her dad. Her dad would not take her and barely even paid any child support. Riley still blamed Laura and me, and this caused some issues between us. But I loved Laura a lot, so I put up with Riley's outbursts for her, and we made things work. Eventually, when Riley was 14, her dad got remarried and basically cut her off completely, which devastated her. That guy sucks.
That's an L dad.
L father, this guy sucks. Laura and I did our best to support her. We got her into therapy and took a trip to cheer her up. After a while, Riley started to improve. Her grades went up and she stopped getting in trouble as much at school. I tried to be consistent. I went to her soccer games, I helped her with homework, and over time we did develop a better relationship. Things have been great since then, and the three of us have become a family. I wouldn't change a thing about our dynamic. Things are about to change though. The thing is, last week Riley came to us and confessed that she was bi and she wanted us to meet her girlfriend. I have no issue with her being bi, and I told her that we were proud of her and we were sure that we would love her girlfriend. I started making plans to have a dinner with all of us so she could meet the family. My wife, though, was just quiet the whole time and staring at her daughter. My wife comes from a very religious household, so maybe I should have known, but she had always seemed fine with LGBTQ people. I guess she is one of those people who is fine with gay people existing as long as it's not one of her family. She just told Riley to get out. The room got quiet. Riley and I looked at each other, and I saw Riley was on the verge of tears. Her mom started yelling at her, and she called her some really awful things and told her that she didn't want to look at her.
Oh, wow.
She said that
Wow.
unless she went to a religious conversion camp, Riley had to get out of the house and she wasn't welcome here. At this point, I finally jumped in. I
Okay.
told Laura to stop, that we were not going to make Riley leave for being who she is, and my wife started going off on me now. She told me that I was betraying her, choosing a sinner, I don't want to write what she actually said, over her, and that unless we got Riley fixed, she wasn't family anymore.
There's nothing to fix.
There's such a simple solution here. Let this trash bag disown her daughter, and then you guys can just take care of business together.
It's a very rock and a hard place for OP because again, it's like that's her mom, but like that's not her mom anymore. That all of this outburst and this change the tide, that's no longer her mother. That's a demon.
I told Riley to go to her room and that Laura and I had to talk. I tried to talk Laura down, but she wasn't hearing it. She's adamant that she wants her daughter out of the house. Not only that, but she wants to cut Riley off completely, take back the car we gave her, and stop paying for her classes and therapy. She actually blames the therapist too, and me for wanting to get her into therapy in the first place.
Mom needs something.
Mom needs therapy.
I think at this point, this is where you, like, if it's this hostile and aggressive, you say, okay, Riley's leaving, I'm leaving. Riley, let's go.
I tried to tell her that would leave her own daughter vulnerable, but she doesn't care. She actually hopes that when Riley hits rock bottom, she will come back, and then we can pay for her to go to a religious conversion camp, which is basically just an abuse farm.
Everyone who sends their kids to conversion camp should go to jail.
Yeah. There's a conversion camp. I'm going to convert you into a member of the jail. I'm strongly opposed to these kinds of camps, and I told Laura as much. We didn't get anywhere in our conversation and went to bed without resolving anything. I got some reading material for Laura. She can't read. That I thought could help, but she refuses to look at it because she's afraid of it. She isn't budging on this and wants Riley out of the house, her only daughter. I don't think I can support this.
Good.
I'm not even sure if I can look at my wife the same way. You shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
You 100% should not.
Great.
She was always so loving, but seeing how hateful she can be to her own daughter disgusts me. How can I help Laura accept her daughter? And failing that, how do I help Riley? I'm worried about her. She has been extremely depressed and crying since last night. And there is an edit. Clearly, first of all, divorce your wife.
Yeah.
You can't. This isn't just a.
This isn't like,
you know,
oh, this is a little boo-boo. We can put a Band-Aid over it.
Unless she's in like an acute mental health episode, like, which she's not.
Yeah.
From the sound of it. Sounds like she just realized her daughter was gay and was like, not mine. They're fine as long as they're not in my family.
Which is insane.
A lot of people have that, though. A lot of people will coast around and be like, oh, that's fine.
I'm
I
cool
don't
with
mind
it.
that. But the moment that it impacts them or is around them in any way, now all of a sudden
It's
you see
all-
how they
all-
really think about it.
All heck breaks loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there's an edit. Thank you all for your comments. They made me realize what matters here. I don't think I care about the marriage anymore. I just want to help my stepdaughter. Can I legally force my wife to leave the house? It is a premarital asset in my name. That sounds about right. Any suggestions on how to have a talk with Riley and what to say so she knows I'll support her no matter what would be great. Does anyone have any ideas on what I could do to cheer her up? Should I be trying to force some kind of reconciliation between her and her mother, or would that just cause more damage right now?
Yes. Right now, 100%. This is on, like, the ball is in mom's court.
Yeah.
Riley doesn't need to do anything.
OP continues, please, literally just anything you can think of that would make her feel better would be amazing. The Superman movie. Also, just any parenting advice for a 19-year-old girl. I think I'm about to become a single father, unless my wife does a complete 180, but I don't have a lot of hope there. And there are some comments. Number 1 says, start with supporting Riley. Keep doing what you're doing and be consistent and supportive with her. But you may also need to recognize that your home is not a safe space for Riley while Laura is there too. It may actually be better in the short term if one of them leaves. How can I help Laura accept her daughter? Well, that's not an overnight fix, unfortunately. And given that she grew up in a really religious household, it's going to take time to untangle. You need to be resolute in your own morals and values here, and that truthfully may come at the expense of your relationship. Comment 2 says, I would not want to be married to someone who did this to their kid. OP replies, I know. I thought the same thing. She's never been like this. When she was yelling that night, it was like a different person had possessed my wife. This is just a side of her that hasn't had reason to be visible. Exactly. It's like that meme that says, and I paraphrase, don't judge a person by how they act when you're getting along with them. Judge them by who they are when you stand up to them.
Ooh.
People can be kind, compassionate, and loving as long as they're not met with anything they disagree with. Then you see their true selves. You saw who your wife truly is that night. Comment 3 says, nope. I'm very religious, and I have seen the devastating impacts of people experiencing this kind of hatred from Christians that grossly represent Christ this way. It was the first thing I asked my husband about when we started talking marriage. I was not going to marry someone that couldn't love and accept their children unconditionally. Your wife just caused more trauma with her daughter. Offer to take Riley and her girlfriend out to dinner without your wife. Continue to stand firm that the way your wife is behaving is so inappropriate. Your wife might be experiencing some kind of trauma response herself. That's absolutely heartbreaking and so unfair that she took it out on Riley. This would be an immediate intensive therapy or divorce for me.
Yup.
And we do have a little bit more story left. There's a final update. I'm thinking beautiful rainbows as far as the eye can see. Not even because of the context of the story, just because rainbows are pretty. Rolling green hills. That really did just come out. I didn't come out. Bottom line, if you're a parent or you're a child of a parent who can't support you for being
who
the way
you
that
are, what you want, what
never
you like, who
it's
you
never
like.
on you. It's on them.
Yeah. Keep hammering it in like, hey, this is okay. You are okay. This is not on you. Your mother sucks.
Update. My wife went to go stay with her parents for now. She still isn't budging and thinks I'm betraying her because I'm siding with Riley. I don't know if our marriage can ever recover, but I made my choice and I don't regret it. Had a talk with Riley to let her know that I will support her no matter what, and she is always welcome in my home. Like some said, she started blaming herself for the marriage issues, but I let her know I couldn't turn a blind eye to my wife's views on this regardless, and I'd rather know and get divorced than be living in ignorance. We are having a movie marathon tonight and ordering some pizza to cheer her up.
Nice.
Her girlfriend is coming over for dinner Sunday, and I'm looking forward to meeting her.
Nice.
Riley's having a rough time. There have been a lot of tears, but she let me know how much it means to her that I've always been there for her. I don't think she will want to see her mother for a while, if ever, which surprised me. And that's the end of that story. That shouldn't be that surprising.
Yeah.
She said some pretty terrible stuff. And we
Um,
just got like the edited version. Like imagine her actually
it was the
going
tone,
off.
the toned down version of we didn't get the verbatim.
There's definitely a lot of slurs in there.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, getting slurred by your own parent.
Yeah, and
Gotta be like a hard, like, all right, so we're not going back to normal. That's crazy.
yeah. Again, Riley's extremely brave, and she deserves all the happiness in the world. So just be there for her, and then also let her know that you're also not doing okay because you just experienced the same things she did, that you saw this person that you loved and was like, that's not who I love anymore.
You go, dude, I just found out your mom sucks.
Yeah. So just be
That's-
there for each other.
That's brutal for both of us.
I never liked my stepmom, and now I want to tell her why.
Tell it to her face.
For the first time in my life, I, 28 female, got into a big argument with my dad. My parents divorced when I was 5, and he almost immediately moved in with his new girlfriend. I lived with my mom and went to his place every other weekend and a half of school holidays. The best moments of those visits was always the drive back and forth, since it was usually just the two of us. The rest of the time I spent with my stepmother and her 2 children. By the way, this comes from Complex Row 89, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/showcase Storytime subreddit. And OP says, fast forward to today. My wife and I are buying a house, and I asked my dad if he could check it out on Wednesday. His answer? Just trust the estate agent. He doesn't have the time because he might need to watch my stepsister's kids. He watches those kids every single week. and has been doing it for years, always complaining about how much energy it takes. I completely feel let down. He rarely shows me that he cares for me. We have a cordial but not deep relationship, and this was one of the biggest steps of my life. And my dad didn't even try to be a part of it.
Oh, that's so tough.
I wondered if maybe my dad was hurt that we hadn't invited him to our current house. So I explained it wasn't personal. I told him I had nothing against him, but I didn't feel comfortable having my stepmother at my place because she's always been mean to me. He was welcome to my house by himself. My dad refused and got offended that he was just discovering I didn't like his wife. Like, open your eyes. She hates on me all the time. My dad said I needed to let go of the past and offered to get dinner soon to talk it out. I insisted to talk on the phone because I didn't feel like seeing him, and it wasn't a conversation to be had in a restaurant. More like at a picnic or in the middle of the woods. No one can hear us because we're going to be yelling at each other.
Oh, that works.
Here are some examples of why I can't stand her anymore. When I was doing a ballet at 5 or 6 years old, she said I was too fat to dance.
What? Sorry? She said what to a 5-year-old?
She forced me to get my armpits and legs waxed at 10 because she was afraid that me shaving would look bad in her wedding photos.
Oh my God.
A 10-year-old?
Wait, why would you even have been shaving at that age?
It hurt like heck, and I still remember feeling like complete crap.
Oh my God.
She didn't like me staying at home doing homework, reading, or playing video games, so I had to go out and hang out with my stepsister's friends, whether I wanted to or not. After I came out, she made closet guard comments about marriage whenever she got the chance to.
Yikes.
She encouraged me to sleep with men in case it turned me straight when I was 14.
This woman is evil.
This is an evil stepmother.
This is literally evil stepmother. She sounds like a nightmare.
I never told my dad about that one. She called me too fat when I was 16 for an entire summer, then called me too skinny at 18 because I became super self-conscious and lost a lot of weight. She undermined all my successes, especially school-related ones. Talked behind my back to other family members constantly. She would disagree with me about absolutely everything. She spent whole dinners talking about how my being vegetarian was wrong and stupid, though she never said a word about her son's vegetarian girlfriend.
Because she hates you. She literally hates you and she's jealous of you because you're her, you're from a different relationship.
She gives me the cold shoulder regularly or just acts super cold when I'm around. After 23 years of knowing her and 1.5 of therapy, I finally unloaded what I had to say. My dad thinks he did his best as a father and that she has nothing against me.
Wow. So your dad is living in the clouds.
My dad thinks he did his best. He thinks I'm living in the past. Now he's blaming my wife for my changing behavior because I used to be afraid to speak up for myself. I'm not his girl anymore because I don't smile as much as I used to. Well, I'm done putting up a nice face when I'm being walked all over. Well, Dad, it's called therapy. Was I wrong? Am I really living in the past? Should I have accepted his invite to talk face to face? We have an update. Do not accept his invite to talk face to face.
Dude, you're living in the present.
Because what is he going to do if you meet face to face?
He's just going to be like, you're taking this too hard.
Yep.
You're overreacting.
Yep.
Yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada.
And I guess I'd start thinking about what ties do you have to your dad? Financial ties.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't
Well, it
seem like
seems
there's
like-
any emotional ties
Yeah.
left.
No. Seems like OP's like married. Seems like she's pretty independent now.
Has her own house.
Yeah. If you really want to have a conversation with your dad, you could tell him all of these things that happened and then see what he says. But yeah, your stepmom sucks and
23
you're
years
not you're very much in the right.
Yeah.
For not being over this because it's still happening. Or it has been happening.
My big brother texted me yesterday evening asking why I took such a big decision and saying that dad is not doing okay. I called my brother this morning to talk about it. His version, I'm screwing up the family dynamic and making things hard on my dad. Therapy is mostly BS and I'm just being difficult. My mom has been complaining too because I've been parentified my whole life and finally, a few months ago, felt brave enough to set boundaries. I haven't been nice to my dad because I didn't give him my address. A few months ago, when my dad asked for it, he said he'd stop by without warning like he always does. I told him not to do that because I hated it. He brushed me off, so I never gave him my address to keep peace and quiet.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You don't even have the address, and you're given one rule, and then you're like, nah, yeah, you're not gonna get the address if you can't agree to the one rule.
Like, why?
Pretty straightforward.
According to my brother, I shouldn't have said anything about my stepmother and should think about the consequences it has on the whole family. I am, and consequences sound good to me.
Yeah, she doesn't have to talk to these people. Great.
My words have been too harsh, though my reply was that I didn't tell him his wife was a effing witch, even though that's my opinion. So no,
It's my opinion.
I haven't been too harsh. Changes everything for everyone. I should be more thankful to my parents and shouldn't be so hard. I should let people have their way, or should I have spoken up before? My version, I've never been brave enough to speak my truth. Both my brothers have had the chance to live their lives while I was one left behind, taking care of my mom and basically being her parent. I have a right to decide for myself. I can refuse calls after 8 p.m., decide who I want in my house, say no to when I don't want things to happen. I need therapy because I have been complacent with everyone my whole life. I finally deserve a chance to live my life, and I'm setting up my rules. Accept them, don't discuss them, neither stay or leave. Hope he's just growing a backbone.
Yeah, I agree, and you deserve it.
And the haters are not liking how tough it is.
And who cares what they think? Who cares? Because you're living your best life, and you got a wife and a house, and what do they have? Problems.
Your haters are your motivators.
Mm-hmm.
Yo.
Old adage.
After talking to my brother, I decided to call my dad. Apparently, he understood that I didn't want to see him with his wife anymore. But what I meant was I don't want her in my home. I told my dad that my home was my safe place. And I don't want people I wasn't comfortable around in it. He laughed and said he loved me, but my reasoning was stupid.
Okay. Well, you're stupid, so there. How do you like that? How you like them apples?
I feel like you need to talk to your dad in businessman talk.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, remember that job you used to have with that horrible boss? Imagine you're still working for that boss, and no matter how much time and effort you put into this project, he's going to say it's the worst thing ever.
And also call you fat.
And then give you no pay raises whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who just got a pay raise? Your coworker that does less than you.
Yep. And what are you going to do? You staying in that job? Because I'm not.
And guess who's getting 18 holes with the boss? And maybe another possible chance at a raise. Not you. I think you need to talk to him in that way.
Yeah, it's just so it's not even oblivious. It's just he's willfully ignorant. It's so frustrating.
I told him she hurt me and I could make a list if he wanted examples. He laughed about me making a list. When I gave him examples, he excused them all and said I exaggerated them. According to him, I was well treated because she didn't harm me or pester me. I was fed, and she did things for me. He couldn't give me a single example of what she did for me. He didn't care about anything on my list and brushed it all off. Even when I told him he never defended me, he said I was still his daughter and he loved me, but he wasn't going to see me without his wife. We would just call anyway. He added that his wife has been crying for days about it. Like, what the F?
She hates you. What is she crying about?
He told me I should have talked to her directly. I told him I never felt safe enough to talk to her face to face, but I could call her. I'm wondering if I should call her, tell her why I basically hate her. It would be liberating, and nobody could use the argument, you should be an adult and talk to her directly. But at the same time, it feels weird to call someone, tell them why you hate them. By the way, you can listen to more stories about hating people on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify. And we're here for 70 days. Probably 71.
Probably
Counting.
70 more.
Yeah.
And counting.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, if you need this, if this is your moment where you just release all of those years of pent up rage,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Do
dude.
it. You have nothing to lose. She hates you. You hate her.
Yeah.
You already kind of want to cut off your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Peace out.
Yeah. The consequence is consequences. That word is a neutral word. It doesn't mean you can be positive consequences or negative consequences. But the consequence of this is just not interacting with the family.
Yeah.
And it
Which is
doesn't.
already kind of seeming like that's where you're going.
And I hate that, like, your mom and your brothers aren't very supportive either.
Yeah.
And you're kind of stuck in this tough spot. I would prioritize making solid friends and
Yeah.
investing in my relationship.
Well, she's got her wife. That's something.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
you
like,
can
also
have a
your
good
friends.
relationship with your wife, like, definitely. But
Like,
if
that's
you're,
your family, I mean. Now,
yeah,
you know?
but if you only rely on that, that gets,
Absolutely, yeah, definitely need like hopefully you have a good support system with your friends and stuff. But yeah, I think that like just kind of focusing on creating that new family outside of your family, that sucks.
yep, we got a little bit left here. I've always been conflict avoidant, so this is all new to me. My mother doesn't know about the conflict with my dad yet. But even before this, she already thought I'd changed since I'm not ready to drop everything I'm doing to help her with minor stuff anymore. My wife and I got married last Thursday, but we only invited our friends to our wedding. It was a total of 8 of us. Our parents don't know we got married, though they knew we were engaged. We're sending the "we said yes" cards today. It's going to make such a mess on my side of the family. I added to the previous tensions. I think you'll have plenty to read. Yikes. And that's the end of the story.
My wife makes traveling miserable, and I accidentally told her.
Tell her how it is.
My wife, 38 female, and I, 36 male, have been together for 8 years. We live in my home state of Arkansas. She is from San Diego. Every year she wants to visit home. We used to fly, but since we have a kid now, 2 female, she now insists on driving. By the way, this comes from user OKCut9597, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
I have no problem using all my vacation days for this since she lives here now. The problem is her overpacking. She used to fill my CX-7 completely, but work gave me a $900 car allowance, and we used that to get a full-sized Suburban. This time she loaded that full. I mean front passenger seat to the ceiling, so I cannot see the mirrors fully. We didn't use hardly any of it. Every stop, I carried something into the hotel because she was afraid it would get stolen. It's a 3-day drive each way. Got through it, but I told her she makes traveling miserable because she's also always late. I tell her we're leaving at 10 a.m., she might arrive by noon. Every day we don't leave the hotel until 12. Then she insists we drive until midnight. It's exhausting and unfun. Anyway, this weekend I was sent on a work conference. They got me a sweet hotel room for a week at a nice resort, and I was super excited. We were originally going to leave the baby with my mom. The day before, though, she cancels my mom to bring our child instead. Fills the Suburban full again. Mind you, it's my work trip for 5 days and 5 nights. Most of the stuff was just overpacking. She brought a tote of blankets, 1 of towels, 2 totes of her clothes. I told her she makes it miserable because the hotel always gets cluttered and the night before we leave is always chaos trying to pack all her organizing stuff that never gets used. She freaked out and told me I just want to go hook up and cheat at these things. She said she's filing for divorce because I told her, quote, "You're overpacking and insisting we fill every vehicle and always being late makes me miserable." We were 3 hours late leaving, so I missed the networking opening night where people in my industry tend to connect. I missed the best vendor events because she insisted I don't leave since she was overwhelmed with how messy the hotel room was. Mind you, it was all the stuff she brought. She took out of totes and never used, and then the toddler destroyed. Am I the a-hole?
I'm so confused. They're married?
Yes,
Okay.
they are married.
If she's always late, I don't know, lie to her about the time you gotta leave or something.
Yeah, I think at this point you need strategies to work around your wife's behavior here, or
Right.
just being like, hey, we're going to try doing the trip my way. We always do the trip your way. Let's do the trip my way. And then if she's like,
Yeah.
absolutely not, then you go, okay, well then have like a spa day while I go on my work trip because we're not going.
Keep her occupied. You know your wife at this point. You've been with her for at least 2 years because you have a 2-year-old. Like,
There's an edit here. Yes, I'm involved in raising our child. I actually packed for our trip. I had one bag for baby to go to mom's with toys, diapers, food, etc. One large suitcase. I had a bag packed for my wife and one for me. Yes, she has ADHD. She always says she doesn't want to do this. Then when the trip comes, she does it anyway. I am not a cheater. She accused me of it last time I went solo, and I'm exhausted. If she left me, I think I would be done with relationships. My own mental health is wrecked. My boss wasn't mad. He found the whole thing hilarious when I told him. My job wasn't threatened, but to me, it felt like it was. I've tried packing for both of us. I've tried to just accept her issues, but it's gotten worse. When we first got together, she needed a large checked bag for a 2-day trip to Las Vegas. Now she needs an entire Suburban for a week-long trip. One of the main issues is the vehicle gets so full that I can't even see the side mirrors. I've expressed how unsafe that is, and she doesn't care. Just yells that I don't understand. Yes, she comes from a hoarder background, and there's an update. Let's just get into it. About a month ago, I told my wife she makes traveling no fun. I posted before we left for our drive home, and since then, it's been a whirlwind. We got home and I wanted to talk, but she said we were fine. I called a counselor and got us couples therapy and set her up with one who specializes in trauma that causes hoarding. She did not call a lawyer. She threatened divorce again, so I dialed one on her phone, put it on speaker, and walked away. Not my best moment. It sounds like you might be ready to walk away from this.
Sounds a little passive aggressive.
Honestly, though, if my partner just like threatens divorce multiple times, I'm like, okay, here, beep, boop, boop. Here's the divorce lawyer. Do you want to talk to them?
She does sound like she's having an actual mental crisis, though.
Well, she's got ADHD. She comes from a hoarding background. It's like
But
a big...
he's specifically looking up a trauma therapist that specializes in trauma that causes hoarding. So something has happened.
Oh, yeah, being brought up in a hoarding house?
Yeah.
Crazy. Since then, we have attended 4 sessions together, and she has gone 5 times on her own. I spent all my savings to hire people to come in and help her clean for a week. We threw away 2 40-yard dumpsters fairly full of stuff. We cleaned out her car, the one she puts my daughter in daily, and established a routine where only her purse and diaper bag go up front. The rest stays in the trunk only. I've had to go through it daily and remove stuff. I once let it go 4 days, and it was full again. We are going to see her family in December. I made it very clear that if the vehicle is loaded full, I'm going to the airport and flying with our daughter while she can make the trip herself. We made the packing lists already. The trunk of the Suburban can be full, but nothing above the trunk cover and nothing besides a small cooler, purse, and diaper bag up front. I bought refundable tickets for my daughter and me to fly to and from San Diego if she fills the vehicle and throws a fit. Now, how is our quality of life? She seems happy. Her family says she's happier than ever. She's always wanted a clean house and car, but fights me when I clean up, even now saying she was about to do it. I am miserable. I'm constantly picking up the car, the yard, and the house. I let it go 2 days once and got screamed at for sabotaging her. I talked to a lawyer myself, not to move forward, but to protect myself. My boss actually has me in line for a promotion, which is great. The only problem is if our marriage ends and she moves back to California, then I would be stuck in a 2-year deal at work. So I'm currently very nervous about career advancement when I am miserable personally. And there's an edit. I forgot to add the cheating part. She confessed she was nervous I would cheat because I am, quote, not the ugliest guy around and you work hard, so if you hate me, then you would have options.
Babe, you're not ugly per se. You could get out there.
It's like, this is like, I don't think we've had a story where the hoarding stuff is like so clearly so bad.
Yeah.
She's doing like hoarding behavior with her own husband. She's like, well, it's like, I have to keep you around because like, what if I need you? Like, or like, what if something tries to take you away from me? And it's like, I need that.
No, she's literally hoarding
Yeah.
people.
And that's hoarder trauma, like
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, that's, your wife needs a lot of help with that. But that can be a huge, clearly, can be a huge strain on a marriage and a relationship.
Yeah, buddy, you still don't sound like you want to be in this one.
Yeah. I have no idea if she is cheating, and I'm kind of at a point where I don't care. I'm 100% checked out. Edit number 2, so many responses. Why haven't I cut the cord? Because she's my wife, and we said for better or worse. How can I walk away from her when she is not doing okay without giving it the good old college try? Plus, I was raised that divorce is not an option. I gave myself until Christmas 2026. If it's not better by then, I'm pulling the plug. I'm picking up every day because counseling said it would help, and also because my daughter doesn't deserve this. I want a clean home, so I do it myself. Is it defeating to come home every day and find the kitchen table covered with random stuff she got out because she was going to bake but never did, and the bed covered with totes of clothes she was going to sort? Sure. Do I want to go through the guest room every 3 days because she destroys it and I want it to be guest ready at all times? No, I don't, but that's the price I pay. If I don't do it, our house is a mess and our kid doesn't deserve it. If I leave, all I'm hurting is someone with mental illness. If I leave, I am hurting someone with mental illness. All I'm doing right now is destroying myself. When I finally walk away, I can honestly say I did my best. Yes, I am documenting her car and the house when I get home and when I leave. I'm probably enabling right now, but if it goes the way it probably will, I'm going to be fighting to keep my daughter. Part of this going above and beyond is so that I can be the better parent, because people were right before when they said I wasn't protecting my kid. As for her claiming I'm sabotaging, I must have worded it wrong. When I clean up, she gets mad because she was going to do it in a minute, even though it's been days. And by the way, you can listen to days and days and days worth of full episodes with stories just like this one on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to the full archive. We have a little bit more story left.
I mean, it's like, I feel like Buddy, like, yeah, he's just going to keep trying from right now over a year.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I see it getting better unless she changes programs, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think, Buddy, you also gotta like approach it with at least a little hope. You're like, I'm 100% checked out, and it's like, if that's the case, even if it does start getting better, you might not even realize it because you're just like not there. So,
also, don't like. He was like, I might not want the promotion if this is going to go bad in 2 years and she's going to move home. You're already saying that it's not going to go that way for at least a year. So you're already a whole year into that. It's going to probably take another year for the custody stuff. Like, I wouldn't hold up your career for this.
Well, I think the thing is he's worried about the like you said, the custody. So it's like if she leaves and then goes back home, it's like where they're going to be like, okay, well, she's going to go with her mom. And then he can't go and try to fight that in California because he'll be in a 2-year work commitment wherever he is right now. In Arkansas.
Yeah, but I think they'd fight it in Arkansas.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know anything about that, but I just think he's like, oh my God, like, I need to be able to maybe stick and move here. Yeah. But let's just finish this story. For those wondering about work, that's us. I am full-time and she works full-time now as a teacher and started back a few days ago. I had hoped she would stay home full-time to raise our daughter since that's why I took this job. I don't love it or enjoy it, but it pays the bills and provides a good quality of life. But it's what she says she needs. And for the people messaging me about using the word trunk, I'm from Arkansas, but there is this thing called a plane, and I have worked all over and have enjoyed a TV show or two that wasn't Walker, Texas Ranger. I also call carts that stores trolleys, partly to mess with people, partly because it entertains me, and mainly because it's become a habit. Okay. Strange way to end that story.
My ex demanded I get rid of my cats because his new wife is allergic.
I know how that feels.
As do I.
I, 24 female, have recently got new cats. My daughter, 6, has always wanted cats, and she has an obsession with them and frequently says, all I want in this world are cats. That's adorable. Little 6-year-old. However, baby daddy's 25, new wife, also 25, is gravely allergic to cats. There you go. And has been to the hospital once for it. By the way, this comes from Super Accountant 943 on the Too Hot Takes subreddit, and you can submit your own stories to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And OP says, I have multiple friends with cats, and my daughter is frequently around them and plays with them, then goes over to baby daddy and wife's house, and there has never been a complaint of allergies. I was told by wife that she would start taking allergy shots and would be good to go in around a month's time. I found the perfect cat sibling pair from an adoption agency in my area. Adopt, don't shop. And with the info on it being about a month, I had a friend agree to watch them in the transition period and would take the caution in giving baths, changing clothes, etc. if my daughter did see the cats. Well, yesterday, I let them know that she had come in contact with the cats briefly, but she was bathed and put in freshly washed clothes that had not been in the same house as them. I was told to still take her over to her grandparents' house for another rinse off and change clothes just in case. After dropping her off, I received a call from baby daddy where he told me his wife could no longer get the shots since they just found out that she's pregnant, so she would like the cats rehomed or returned to the adoption agency. Well, congrats on the pregnancy. However, if it hasn't been an issue in the past, I feel like it's not going to be an issue anymore, or
The cats?
in the future. Like if the daughter is in contact with cats and then goes over to baby daddy's house, it hasn't been an issue.
So why
with
would
their
it be an issue?
allergies. Yeah. So now we're veering on weird control. My biggest concern is for my daughter, and I genuinely believe if the cats were taken from her permanently, it would be traumatic for how long and how badly she's wanted them. Not to mention the resentment in her it would cause towards the wife and new baby. And that's just a horrible thing to do after giving the pet a new home after being rescued. Also, I would be effectively blacklisted from all rescues and agencies if I were to do that, and rightly so. I ended up getting another call the day after saying that they were in the ER for hours and spent a bunch of money for the visit, and the cats needed to be rehomed. But like I said before, my daughter has been around cats many times and gone over there, and there's never been an issue. I find it hard to believe that after 2 baths and clothes changes that it truly caused such a bad reaction that the hospital was necessary.
I'm sorry, they had 2 baths and changed her clothes.
Yeah, twice. Changed her clothes
they're
twice.
Lying. They're lying.
Honestly,
They're
they
lying.
just want them to not have cats.
No, like genuinely, they're lying.
Okay, conspiracy theory. I think they're worried that because OP has the 2 cats for the daughter's gonna like being over there more and not like being with the baby daddy. Maybe that's what they're worried about. It's also important to note that the 3 of us have not always gotten along, especially since the wife was my best friend for a while before I found out she got with him. So we were on very bad terms for a very long time. Yeah, that sounds right. I found it hard to give up something me and my daughter have been so excited for, and I've worked so hard to get to a place where we can get them, only to be told that we can't because of their decision to have a new baby. They're still asking that the cats be given back or rehomed and making me feel like I'm the bad guy. Am I the a-hole? Also, edit to add, they were both aware for a long time that the end plan was to get cats ASAP. That's why she was going to start the shots, and they were not blindsided by this plan. And I told the wife when I got them, and it was fine before they found out about the pregnancy. Hi, Chip. We've got a dog in here. Speaking of cats,
you look gigantic.
You take up the whole screen.
He's so big.
Chip, you look huge.
You look so big. Oh my gosh.
Chip, down.
Edit number 2. Since for some reason, I have to preface this was not in retaliation or out of spite or anything in that way towards the wife. We just moved to a place that can have cats we couldn't have at the previous place. And I have been wanting cats since before I even knew the dad in high school. I do not think about them when I am not directly speaking to them. So adopting cats was purely for the joy of me and my daughter, not to cause problems. And again, they knew that this was happening and there were no issues, and cats were adopted and they were informed. They were before finding out she was pregnant, and the plan was fine then. So it was not me trying to make life harder for the wife. There are more comments here. Comment number 1 says, wait a dang minute. So your baby daddy's wife was your ex-best friend? Were they having an affair when you were still with him? An OP response. So we were never married. We dated a long time, and there is some speculation that they might have been together when we were. However, they deny it. But regardless, the same day we broke up, they were both at her place together that night, and she lied about it, and they've been together ever since. So shady as a friend, no matter whether during or not.
They freaking cheated.
Absolutely.
They freaking cheated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was probably like, thank God we broke up. Let's let's get together now.
Yeah.
Freely. Someone else responds, oh, they were 100% having an affair. F them. Keep your cats.
Yeah. What are they gonna
Literally.
do? What are they gonna do?
Honestly, show me the receipts. Show me the
Yeah.
hospital bills.
Yeah.
Because I do not believe
Prove
you.
it.
Commenter number 2 says, do not give up the cats. I feel a bath and a change of clothes and no transfer from house to house should be fine. I just don't understand. Can she not sit in a booth at a restaurant if someone before her has a cat and sat there, even if they clean the booth?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like there's no way that her allergies are that bad, because that's just like That's just not how they work.
Yeah, usually you have to be like in close contact or like pet them or
Yes. And sometimes
get
you
the
know
fur
if,
on you.
you're around someone who's got a bunch of cat hair on them.
Sure.
Maybe
And you're like hugging them and
but
stuff.
just, like the most, you're gonna be sneezy.
Yeah.
Not gonna go to the hospital because someone's been around cats.
Right. Someone else responds to that. If her allergies are that bad as they say, she can't go anywhere. I have allergies, one being cats. I live with a cat. As long as I don't touch him, I'm fine. I agree a bath and change of clothes should solve the problem. Commenter number 3 says that's absolutely a ridiculous demand for the ex to make. Someone responds, yeah, tell your ex that one of the absolute best things about being divorced is that he doesn't get to control your life anymore and he should piss off.
Yeah.
Also, document it. Especially note anytime your daughter visited a friend with cats and it caused no issue. Speak to your lawyer about the pesterment and any concerns that he's using this to either A, continue to control you despite the divorce, or B, lay a groundwork to either take custody or abandon his responsibilities to your shared daughter. That's a good point. It could escalate like that for sure. But now we have an update. So we're about to find out what really happened.
Yeah. No.
Thank you all so much for your feedback and suggestions. I'm not going to be giving many details as it's now going to court. I ended up offering to feed the special food a bunch of y'all suggested for allergies. Thanks again.
Smart.
Used sprays, quarantined clothes, etc. And they told me that they are not willing to even try those. The option is to get rid of them.
That's
the only
just-
option.
No.
Yeah. The wife has now tried and failed. They couldn't find a judge to sign it, lol, to put a restraining order on me that states if I don't get rid of my cats, then I'm banned from seeing and having all contact with my daughter until I do. Yeah, that's exactly what the commenter said. They were trying to alter
Get
the custody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I wonder how many other times they've tried to scheme things. And then they're like,
yeah.
oh, this has got to be a good reason.
Yeah, they're like, we just need to go down the list.
Yeah.
Allergies.
Allergies. Obviously, this is wildly excessive, and I have an abundance of evidence to disprove the severity and her claims. I'm trying to harm her on purpose. My daughter let it slip. The wife's parents have cats that my daughter pets when they go visit. Oops.
You've just been caught.
But even more so, when I talked to my psychiatrist about this and at our last appointment, she felt that my cats were necessary to my anxiety disorder. We have talked about me getting ESAs for a while now.
Emotional support animals.
Perfect. So she wrote me a note, and they are now officially my legal support animals. This should take care of the restraining order. However, I was also served with papers, as many of you guessed, trying to take my daughter from me. Apparently, the wife has been, quote, keeping a calendar of all the days I've had my daughter versus her. She started this calendar before they were even engaged.
That's
wild.
insane.
That is. She's trying to show that they should get my daughter since they had her more on paper. However, this is due to the fact that I was needing to save up some money in order to put down the first and last month's rent, etc., at my apartment. So she offered to help as much as I need and encouraged me to pick up extra shifts so that I would have my finances in order. Still crazy.
Still crazy.
But you know what's not crazy is the fact that we've got more full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
Do it.
Do it. And there is a little bit more to the story,
Oh,
but
boy.
woof, that was
Woof.
an update and a half, dude.
Yeah, man.
That was so much.
You freaking, you have the proof.
Yeah.
You have the proof that they were lying.
You have the proof. You've got the
They've been
judge's
lying. I don't even
support.
think they're freaking allergic to cats. I said it.
I think they were lying the whole time.
I think they're lying.
But anyway, there is a tiny bit more to the story. So she is now using those times that she helped against me and saying I can't care for my daughter on my own with the job that I have. I'm honestly sick to my stomach that I've tried so hard to be the bigger person, constantly put up with their shenanigans and crossing boundaries with a smile on my face for the sake of my daughter, all to be once again stabbed in the back by both of them. They don't really have a case, and I have a lot more on them than they have on me, so I'm not worried, just disappointed that people are truly this evil even after you try to give them the benefit of the doubt. And that is the end of that story.
And there you go.
Yeah, dude. That is very disappointing
Yeah.
and so upsetting. They've betrayed you so many times, and now
So
they're
many-
trying to take your
literally,
daughter?
So your best friend takes your man Tries to take your cats, tries to take your daughter.
Literally, like, is she wearing your clothes and dyeing her
She's trying
hair
to
to be
take
like
your
yours?
skin, man.
Literally. That's so insane to try to
Yeah.
come after your daughter like that.
Like, come after your whole life. She's so jealous of you
Yeah,
that she can't see you have anything
literally.
without trying to take it.
Yeah, but I am so incredibly relieved that they have absolutely no case against you,
Yeah.
and you're safe that way.
I agree.
My wife doesn't seem to care that it's my birthday.
Well, then make her care.
I've been married for 6 years, and I love my wife dearly. However, there's been a disconnect between us. I feel like I'm more invested in our relationship than she is. I'm always the first to apologize when we argue, always the one to press issues so we can talk, and the one who typically bends so we can find balance. By the way, this comes from user I Bleed Audio, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Today is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
And so far, it's like she has no idea. We went through the normal motions this morning, talked about our day, and she asked if we can grab takeout tonight from her favorite place, so she's clearly forgotten. I'm not someone who makes a big deal about things like birthdays, but also I guess I'd like to have it acknowledged. I'd like that reassurance that I matter to people. I mean, I feel kind of invisible in my own life sometimes, and I just want to know people care. And I guess I'd like to know if I'm a priority to her. See if she even would acknowledge my birthday if I don't prompt her. I mean, I took her out for hers. I got her gifts. She loved all that stuff. I'm just curious if I would even hear the 2 words if I didn't say anything. Would I be the a-hole if I continue to go through today without telling her? Commenter, not the a-hole. It may seem weird, but I suggest not saying anything and see if she really did forget. Has this happened before or anything similar? OP says, no, not really. She has a history of hating her own birthday and tries to avoid it, so I kind of have to dance around that to show that I care. Maybe she downplays mine because she hates her own? I don't know. So OP replies with their motivation, I'm not doing this to be petty or anything. It just sometimes it feels like no one would really notice if I disappeared. Today just feels like that, I guess. A commenter replies, not liking her own birthday isn't an excuse. I don't like celebrating my own birthday, but we'd be totally fine if no one acknowledged it. I always celebrate my spouse's birthday and make him feel loved and special. You would not be the a-hole if you didn't remind her. Tell her tomorrow and tell her exactly how invisible you've been feeling in your relationship. She sounds self-involved, so maybe it will be a bit of a wake-up call. OP says, yeah, I think I'm just going to go this route. I don't want to tell her and have her just be reactionary. I'll tell her tomorrow and how it made me feel and try to work on us. And in regards to the divorce comments, yeah, I'm not anywhere near divorce, just kind of hurt by the situation.
I hope you guys talk about it.
Anyone honestly suggesting you to divorce over they
That's
just
crazy.
forgot your birthday is a lunatic.
Absolutely agree. But I think it is something to talk about
Correct.
because it's important to you. I think everyone's birthday is important. I think everyone's birthday is important. I think everyone should have a day where they're celebrated. And that means all of you guys. I think all of you deserve to be celebrated, and
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean-
I think you deserve to be celebrated, Dakota.
And to be clear, I've come around on this because it was more in my early 20s and like stuff. It's like I was just like, it's like so. It was my own BS coping, whatever. And then I woke up to the reality that like, oh, like being thoughtful for others has nothing to do with how I feel about my own stuff. So like, I should stop doing that. Like, I just had like a trigger or whatever.
I think you're a very
But it's
thoughtful
not
person.
always. Well, I am now. You didn't know me when I was not.
Thank God.
Update. So, yesterday was my birthday, and I was under the impression that my wife had forgotten.
Under the impression.
I got all up in my head, questioning a lot of things in our marriage. My wife had earlier mentioned getting fast food from one of her favorite places, and it made me think that my birthday wasn't
knew
even
it.
on her radar.
I knew it. She was pulling one of those classic movie things where the person thinks that everyone forgot their birthday, and then it's surprise. I remembered. I always knew it was your birthday. Just wanted you to make you feel like no one remembered, which is a
Class.
weird move.
Following the advice I received, I didn't say anything to her. I went to pick her up from work and gave her the keys. We're one car between us because mine's in the shop, and everything played out normally. However, instead of going to Crushed Red like she had mentioned, we pulled up at my favorite Mexican restaurant that we only go to on special occasions. Over the course of one massive burrito and some deep margaritas, we got to talking. She said it was really hard to not say anything, but she wanted to surprise me. I told her how I had felt, and she was immediately
yeah, girl.
apologetic.
Yeah, don't do that. You can surprise, but still say happy birthday.
She blamed herself, and I told her she had nothing to apologize for. She was trying to surprise me, and I could have remedied everything by just communicating. We talked about our relationship a bit and had a good night. He asked me what I'd like to do, and I just wanted a simple night. So we went home and watched a movie together I'd been trying to get her to see, The Raid Redemption, which she actually really liked. All in all, it was a good night, and a lot of my fears were misguided. I felt like I owed you guys an update after so many of you reached out yesterday. I hope you all have a good day. And by the way, you'll have a good day if you listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify or iHeart or wherever you listen to podcasts. All you gotta do is search OK Storytime, and you can listen to like 100 trillion episodes. We have some comments from OP here. Bro went from she forgot my birthday to we're bonding over burritos and beating people up in the raid. Emotional roller coaster, but 10 out of 10 ending. OP says, yeah, honestly, I can't explain it. It's what I was feeling at the moment. Figured I'd tell it like it happened. Commenter says, good update. This is why I hate surprises like this, though. Like, you want me to spend half my birthday being miserable because you want to surprise me later? Makes no sense. OP says, I mean, to be fair, we spent most of that day working. We currently work in the same building, and she didn't have a whole lot of time to do or say anything. I was stuck working and spiraling a bit for several hours. She was looking to surprise me with it after we got off work. On OP's wife ignoring them, I mean, I did my best to not let on how I was feeling. I think if I had been more honest about it, she would have definitely responded. She wasn't being deliberately hurtful. It was an oversight and bad communication. She just wanted to surprise me. And to be fair, did. Another commenter replied to another commenter says, and honestly, she's doing a lot. With my car being in the shop, she's driving us both to work, even though I'm scheduled an hour before she is. She just chills for an hour to help me out. I also probably would have gotten more attention, etc., if I hadn't been dismissive. I played it off like it was fine and gave short answers to her messages. This was mainly on me and not communicating well. Another commenter says, this actually made me tear up a bit. Sometimes we spiral in silence when all we need is a little moment of patience. I'm really glad y'all got to reconnect over burritos and honest conversation. This kind of quiet love and effort hits different. Happy late birthday. OP says, honestly, she really is good to me. I was in a bad relationship for years before her, and ever since I've been on high alert for red flags to keep from having it happen again. This leads to me sometimes seeing things in a more jaded light than they need to be. She really is great, and while communication isn't perfect, sometimes we both really try. To a downvoted commenter saying she really did forget, I'd say that, but honestly, I know her well enough to know her tells. She was being genuine. Plus, this place is the kind of place you need to get a reservation. It gets crazy busy at night. She had already booked us a table. This was planned. Commenter replies, I used to plan parties. After witnessing lots of people feeling neglected by their loved ones keeping a surprise secret, I started telling people not to pretend to have forgotten the occasion. So many hurt feelings that don't go away in an instant, even if the reason was wholesome. OP says, I mean, once it clicked what her plan was, I stopped feeling hurt. If anything, she felt so bad for making me feel that way, even if it was inadvertent. I told her not to hold on to it and that I wasn't upset anymore now that I understood the situation. I could have said something to her at any point, but was getting in my own head and digging myself deeper. Commenter says, glad it worked out. But also, if you're questioning your marriage because your partner may have forgotten your birthday, there are likely other issues being repressed, either personally or in your relationship. When you're old and gray, you're going to forget each other's birthdays sometimes. You might even forget your kids' birthdays as they age. You'll forget days that are important to others. It doesn't mean you don't love the person whose birthday you're forgetting. Life just happens. This is why healthy, gentle communication is so important always. Hopefully you've learned that from this situation. OP says, yeah, we talked about it over dinner. Our communication had gotten lax, and we just kind of fell into a daily routine. We're both committed to working on it, though, and own our part in the breakdown.
I love this.
And that is the end of that story.
I think that there are like a lot of cases where people let you down, it falls through, and your birthday isn't what you want. And we place a lot of expectations on our birthday about how it should go, which is kind of inevitable. But I think when it's your birthday, go get yourself a treat, go do something that you like to do. Reach out to a friend and maybe reach out like 2 weeks before or a week before and say, hey, are you free this day? Would love to like go out for my birthday. I think there's this kind of like fear that it seems narcissistic to want to celebrate our birthdays. And I want you guys to take that fear of talking about yourself and that like, oh, but I don't want to be in the center of attention. It's like, no, everyone deserves to be in the center of attention. At least a day a year, if not more.
My wife is unhappy with her new job.
Sounds like she needs a new man too.
A few months ago, my 30 male wife, 30 female, started a new job. To give some background, my wife works in a broad field, but in a very specific niche part of that field. Think of a lawyer that practices a very specific kind of law. She worked in her previous job for 5 years, and while she enjoyed the work and the flexibility her job had because she could work from home anytime she wanted, those were pretty much the only good things about her job. By the way, this comes from user WN1599, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, The management there was terrible. Her other coworkers were cliquish and the benefits were bad. Lots of instability. My wife generally felt unsupported in her role there. There were many days that she would come home and practically be in tears because of how frustrated she was with her job. She had passively looked at different jobs a few times, but kept going back because she enjoyed the work and the flexibility, despite things getting worse. The final straw came a few months ago when her old job announced that all staff members would have to take a 6% pay cut. At that point, she revved up her job search into full gear and quickly found a job with the county government. While the job is in her field, it doesn't have quite the same duties as her old role, as she's not interacting with clients and is doing more office work. However, it came with a healthy pay raise, and it's only 10 minutes away from home, plus it has all the benefits and job security that a government job offers. However, she's been at her new job for 2 months, and she doesn't like it. Since it's doing less interacting with clients than she's used to, she feels very bored, and that she's not challenged and making a difference like in her old job. Much like at the old job, she comes home practically in tears because she's so unhappy. I totally sympathize with having a job you don't like and aren't being challenged at. I've been there before and it totally sucks. However, I personally feel that she's got to give it more of a chance as she's only been there for 2 months. Going back to her old job isn't a realistic option and probably not one to go down given her unhappiness there. In terms of other jobs in her field, they don't really exist unless she wanted to take a larger pay cut than we could realistically swing, which isn't ideal as we're hoping to start trying to get pregnant later this year. I guess my trouble is figuring out how to be supportive. On one hand, I hate to see her so unhappy in her job. On the other hand, I also feel like she's being a bit unrealistic about her expectations. And I sometimes want to tell her, hey, if there aren't any other realistic options to work in your specialty area, this doesn't seem so bad. So maybe you should suck it up and deal with it? Or is there some kind of middle ground in how to help her to be supportive? And there are comments here. Comment number 1, are you sure it's the job? I mean, it might be, but coming home almost in tears just because your job is somewhat boring makes it seem like something else is going on. Maybe she's depressed or burnt out, and that is the real issue. You should try to get her to go to therapy to figure this out. Don't just phrase it as it isn't the job. That will make her feel unsupported. Instead, emphasize how a therapist can help her figure out how to get a fulfilling career. This is true as well. And tell her you can see that she deeply is unhappy and want her to feel happier and more content in life. And there's an update. Yeah, I think that's good. Coming from a place of empathy instead of a place of, hey, this is wrong and you're wrong for wanting to leave this. It's more of like, well, it might suck now, but it's like, will it allow us to have things that counteract the suck factor?
Yeah. Can we make a plan where we can invest so we can, quit our daytime jobs?
Ooh, Fran says coming home to OP drives her to tears. Can you imagine if that was it?
Yeah.
She's got a work husband that she
Dude.
loves, and now she's just like,
I might have been on it. I might have been on the point where she might need a new man too.
update. My wife has continued to be unhappy at her new job. I've tried my best to tell her to look at the positives and try to focus on things that make her happy outside of work, but it's not going anywhere. In the interim, she reached out to her old supervisor to catch up and inquire about doing some part-time freelance work for them. In these conversations, her old boss shared with her that her old organization has some major changes in management that have happened, including ousting the CEO, and they recently received a large donation. With this information, my wife is seriously considering leaving her current job for the old one. To be fair, I'm starting to come around to the idea of her looking for another job because I see how unhappy she is, although I'm not thrilled of the idea of giving up the long-term benefits and job security that come with her current role. However, I am locked on against her going back to her old job. I saw how miserable she was there, and while she says now that maybe it wasn't so bad in comparison to my job now, I just have this terrible feeling that in a month or two, and the bad things about this old job will rear their ugly head. Also, and I hate to say it, I feel like she's being a tad immature, especially when you consider the benefits she'd be giving up at the government job. If she was 24, I'd say, yeah, go back to the old job. And if your job gets cut in a year or two, we'll manage. But that's not the case. We're in our 30s, have a mortgage, and are looking at getting pregnant likely sometime this year. It's frustrating that she can't seem to see the bigger picture through her day-to-day unhappiness. Anyway, we sat down last night, and I said, I'm not against you looking elsewhere because you're so unhappy at this job, but I strongly feel that going back to the old job isn't a good idea. You were just as unhappy there as you are here, and I saw for 5 years how that unhappiness affected you both in and out of work, and I don't want you to go through that again. Ultimately, it's your decision, and whatever you decide, I'll stand by it, but just know this is how I feel. And by the way, I just want you to know you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify or iHeart or Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen till your ears fall off, and then you can get them put back on and listen some more.
If only there was a procedure she could take, or she doesn't know what's happening at work, and then after that she could like just live life.
It
So,
sounds
like,
like
that 8 hours of life she doesn't have to worry about.
That sounds like a really streamlined process with no unforeseen consequences or complicated.
Yeah.
I'm actually really down for them. I think if we could
it-
just
And I feel like that like if a company does come up with that, they wouldn't like, do child labor, or they'd be really good people and they'd have really good intentions with what they're doing.
and I'm sure that level of influence over people would never breach some level of like maybe questions of morality.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. Or an ethical sense. No.
Well, that didn't go over very well with her. She claimed that I haven't been taking her feelings seriously and that I'm just brushing them off by saying, oh, well, just find something fun to do outside of work. I told her this isn't true and that because I do care about her feelings, I'm voicing my concerns about her going back to her old job, where she was in tears on a weekly basis due to her unhappiness, and I don't want to go back to a job that as 2 months ago made her unhappy. She then continued with, how do I know that I won't go to a different job and I'll be unhappy there? I responded, how do you know you won't? It went back and forth, and eventually she said, going back to the old job is really going to be the only thing that makes me happy, and if you don't support that, you don't love and care about me. She stormed off, and we haven't spoken since. I'm just at a total loss over this. I know how unhappy she is in her current job, and I want her to be happy more than anything, but she seems so fixated on going back to her old job that also made her miserable, so I'm not sure what I should do here.
This is really tough place to be. I think it honestly feels like we're focusing on the wrong thing. Like the problem, it's like, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem, but I don't think that this is the problem. I think there's something underneath it that is actually making Opie's wife feel this way. She's like, I was more happy at the old job. At the old job, she said she was miserable.
Well, I think the reason she wants to go back now is because she liked the nature of the work better, and there's been a shakeup where like the CEO is different. So it's like maybe that culture that OP said was so toxic and kind of destructive is maybe changed. Typically when you change something like a CEO, like that's a big
under new management.
That's a big energy shakeup from the top down. So,
yeah,
I mean, it could be worth exploring. I think
Amy Lynn says it really good. I see you. She didn't know how good she had it at the first job, and at the first job until she quit and worked the state job. Yeah.
All right. Comment 1. So I think she crossed the line with that comment there as well. From the old post, it kind of sounds like she actually loved her old work, but hated everything around it. And here, she hates the actual work. I obviously don't know what field she's in, but it reminds me of science research, where if you're a researcher, you might be in a crappy institution with an awful supervisor and no funding, but you're a researcher. And if you get a government job, say advising, it almost doesn't matter that the coworkers are nice, that the work is regular and less stressful. You're not a researcher. So it might actually hurt you more on the inside, at least in the research job you hated. There was a core of your passion there, and when you got upset, you were getting upset because the thing you cared about was being ruined, rather than getting upset because you hate your own existence. I think you're right at the core. She should be looking for an option 3, which should be the same role as job 1, but at a different place. But I also suspect she might be right that she won't hate job 1 as much now that it's been put in perspective. This is obviously an issue so full of emotion and fears from both of you. Yours are about mortgage and babies, and hers are about her life fulfillment. She's really overstepped here, which is going to make a sensible, calm discussion really hard. But I think that's what you need to try and do. You both have really valid arguments personally. At the end of the day, I don't think I could have kids with a spouse who was this miserable. I'd be more concerned about their well-being first, and if that means taking a hit and things taking longer, I think I'd have to go that way, because starting a family on that footing is not good. Maybe it's worth a couple of visits to a counselor to mediate the conversation and make sure you're both hearing what the other person is trying to say. OP replies, this brings home a lot of good points. Without going into specifics, my wife works in social services, so she gets a lot of her job satisfaction from helping other people, which obviously she isn't doing much at her current job. I work in a job that's very corporatized, so I gain my job satisfaction from working on cool projects and knowing that I'm helping provide for my family. I also went through a period sort of similar to what she went through, where I was in a job that I hated and I let the negativity affect my life outside of work. Eventually, I left that job for a better situation, but in looking back, I realized how I couldn't let my life outside of work be affected by my job. And I just wish she felt that way too, which is why I keep bringing up the find something that makes you happy idea. Comment 2 says, she may need some therapy. I think a lot of people have this delusion that they're going to find a job in which they're 100% happy and fulfilled, and anything short of that unicorn is misery. It takes a healthy dose of optimism and always looking forward, not backward. Sometimes your job is just the thing you do to pay the bills and a platform you use to jump up to the next thing. Always climb up. If she goes back to the old job, where is the up? More money, less stress, better benefits, more security, more time off? No. OP says there's definitely more flexibility in the old job, but considerably less security and benefits and likely less pay. And that is the end of that story.
My wife wanted to take a break, but now she's acting like nothing happened.
We're off the break.
I, 28 male, and my wife, 27 female, have been together for 7 years, married for almost 2. We have a beautiful 1-year-old, and I thought everything was perfect. It's been a rough week. She told me she wanted a break, completely out of left field. I was lost. By the way, this comes from Flan Pleasant 8361. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. She said she needed space to think and find herself again. Since I'm the sole provider, she had all day at home with our kid and freedom to relax. She claimed she wasn't sure who she was anymore, since her identity changed from who she was to mom. She said, I haven't met her needs, she has no love for me, and isn't happy anymore. I'm not her safe space, even though I work 10 to 12-hour days and take care of our child whenever I'm home so she can have her own time. She'd been talking to a new friend group in a video game recently, especially this new guy. They talked all day and all night. When I expressed concerns, she said he was like a brother to her. I trusted her to shut it down if needed. A day after she asked for the break, I gave her space, but she constantly wanted to talk to this guy and her new friends. She told me her friend group knew she was married. Hours later, a good friend informed me she'd been oversharing her needs, affection and spicy related, saying I didn't meet them anymore, but this guy she was talking to could. She said they had more compatibility even though she'd never met him. That night, I checked call logs and texts. They'd been sending explicit messages, asking spicy related questions, and comparing me to him to the point where they'd gotten off during calls.
Oh,
Where'd they go?
Yeah, so she cheated on you.
That's cheating.
She full cheated on you.
Full cheated.
Where did they go? Did they meet up or something?
They just don't worry about it. You learn when you're older, right?
Yeah, really. When you're older.
Where did they go?
When you're older.
Did they get off work early?
Yeah,
and then they got to
just
meet
went
up?
Yeah, it's like the pets, but it's like they just went to a farm.
They went to a farm, Riley.
Okay, so they met up secretly in person.
When she found out I discovered everything, she apologized, but still wanted to talk to this guy because she was worried for his mental state. From the beginning of our break, my feelings were never considered. I have to focus on my child to get through living in my own home, while she openly talks and video chats this guy. She has no reason to make this work because she doesn't believe I'll change. Marriage counseling wouldn't help since she doesn't see any love toward me. I'm not her safe space anymore. This new guy is.
Rough.
And we have an update.
Yeah, no, that's your relationship is not. Yeah, that's it. That's not even just emotional cheating.
No,
That's like physical cheating.
that becomes physical cheating.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't met up.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree because at that point you're like mutually doing
things.
something on video call.
Yeah. I understand that only providing isn't everything when raising a child and keeping a family together. There are many instances where I wish I'd done more so she'd feel special and pursued. She believes I won't change and don't have it in me to meet her needs. And she feels no romantic connection towards me. My main priority is our child's safety and well-being, along with my own. I went gray rock, only asking for child updates when I'm at work. I talked to my boss about reducing hours to work 8 to 9 hours instead of 10 to 12. I've contacted lawyers for guidance. I have screenshots of messages and call logs with timestamps. Since I'm the main account holder for our phone plan, I always have to access call logs. They're still calling and video chatting, so I'm collecting evidence. The messages are explicit and concerning. After I first checked her phone, she changed the passcode, so I rely on Discord messages on her computer when I get the chance. Her family knows everything and doesn't understand why this is happening or why she's so willing to pursue this guy. Now she's trying to justify her cheating by claiming I cheated.
So she's justifying it by lying?
Yeah. Like a liar?
Like a
Like
liar.
most cheaters
So
do?
I said, like a liar.
Pointing to some mark she doesn't remember giving me. She won't take accountability and keeps shifting blame. Update 2. I started focusing on my well-being and mental state while making sure my child gets the love and attention she deserves. Coming home from the gym, I showered and was spending time with our daughter when my soon-to-be ex-wife left her computer unattended. I saw messages on her phone linked to her computer. Hateful messages saying I'm trying too hard to win her back, that I went to therapy and I'm trying so hard it's cringe. She's purposefully ignoring me because she doesn't want involvement with me and keeps laughing about what I'm doing even though I'm not doing this for her.
Yikes. Your wife is cringe, dude.
Yeah.
Your wife is she's using the word cringe to describe you going to therapy
To try to save a relationship.
with a child where you both have a child.
Yeah. I accepted that I needed to move on and be the best dad for our child while learning to co-parent. She acts civil to me, but crap talks me to her friends and the guy she's still contacting, referring to me as her ex. She asked what everyone thinks will happen, which tells me she's only going to therapy to check it off. There was no saving this from the beginning. I told her if she wants to leave so badly to be with this guy, go ahead. She chose to step out of this marriage and family. She has until the end of February to get out, and the baby stays here. She asked if she can visit and see our daughter, and I said yes. She's her mother. Just let me know when. I'm not preventing her from seeing her child. She agreed and said she'll be out of my hair as soon as possible, all while on the phone with her new babe.
Crazy.
That's cringe.
That's cringe behavior.
It is cringe behavior.
Cringe.
Also, I bet you $100 that she loves this because it's toxic. It gives that kind of emotion. And as soon as it's all said and done, everything's settled, she's going to get bored.
Well, she said, I don't feel like a woman or a person, an individual anymore because I'm a mom. I've been reduced to mom. And so she's doing whatever she can, even if that means blowing up her entire relationship, to be seen as something other than a mom.
I'm still contacting lawyers, but it seems she's willing to let everything go to the point I might not need one. Still doing my due diligence to protect myself and our child. Update 3. She's leaving next week, still head first into this other guy. She asked if she could get birth control through my insurance. I declined because the main reason is so she can do whatever she wants with this guy. He's trying to get his own place so she can move in, and she's driving all the way there.
Wait. This guy doesn't even have his own place yet?
This guy doesn't have anything. He can't even afford to buy her birth control. So.
What?
We're in agreement about our child. Divorce papers are written and finalized, as is our custody agreement. Everyone in the family is disappointed and frustrated, but she won't listen to anyone besides her new guy and friend group. Update 4. She's been gone about 3 weeks now. She couldn't find a rental van before leaving, so the guy drove down to pick her up. I told her he's not allowed in the area or apartment while I'm here with our daughter, so he stayed in his car until she finished packing. An hour later, she left with him. Close friends came by as witnesses in case she tries claiming she didn't leave or abandon us when she clearly did. I'm waiting for documents to be notarized and sent back since she's no longer in the same state. I've gotten into a routine taking care of our child while working. I have lots of support from my family and even my in-laws. Our daughter stays with me since there's no support where she went, and no one would allow her around a stranger. She's messaged about video chatting with our child, but that's about our only communication now.
I think you're banned from video chatting.
Yeah.
Personally.
After what you've done.
After what you've done. Boy.
Update 5.
It keeps going.
When will it end?
It's been roughly 6 to 7 months since my original post. My wife left me and my daughter for a man she'd never met in person. During these months, it's just been me and my daughter. Things have gotten better. Our child is healthy and happy with friends at daycare, and both families have been supportive, showing her the love she deserves. They still don't understand why my wife made this decision, but she'll face the consequences. I was able to serve her at the end of June in the state she went to, since it was hard figuring out where she was staying. During these months, she hasn't planned to visit or see her child. I let her video chat our daughter at daycare so she can see her, but that's not the same as seeing your child in person. By the way, you can always see us with full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app, search up OK Storytime.
Yeah, this girl is done.
Yeah.
I am not out.
I mean, she's been out. The
Divorce
is filed, custody's written out.
We're good then.
Yeah.
Pretty cut and dry.
I was waiting for her to have some crazy turn.
I am
of,
too.
Well, wait.
That's what the
She's
title
gonna-
said.
That's the title. I forgot.
Unless the title was slightly inaccurate, we might be about to see that. But either way,
Yeah, we got about a foot and a half left here.
Oh yeah.
I
read
just
the
want to
next
know
sentence.
because I can't judge. I can't give any more commentary that I haven't already given.
Unless she
find out
came
what
back
this
with
is.
some crazy
We're
I had a brain tumor that was clouding my
then
judgment.
we're done forever.
Yeah.
Then maybe, I don't know.
Well, at least there's a medical
Yeah.
reason that could.
It
still
better
a
be
stretch.
medical. It better be medical, and you have X amount of time left to live for us to think about it.
Fast forward to now. I received a message saying she's moving back to our state and plans to move into the same apartment complex I'm in. Not once did she send anything to help or plan to visit our child, but now she's asking to see our daughter like nothing happened. And she was the one who left. She still has no income, just like when she first left, and is relying on her new boyfriend for money. I'm not sure how she can afford her new attorney and moving across the country back here in such a short period. I sent all proof of text showing adultery and messages confirming she willingly left for this new man to my attorney. I'm still waiting for updates. I don't want to come home from work with my daughter and potentially see her and her new man at my front door. I've been in contact with my attorney, who reassured me that since her name isn't on the lease anymore, she has no right to access or demand entry to my space. I got a door camera because I don't know what to expect from her and this new man. If he's dangerous or if they both are. If they act up, I'll have more evidence to protect us. The anxiety of not knowing if they'll show up is affecting our safety. Yeah, move.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that's
no.
the end.
Genuinely, I think you have to move. If you have full custodies or any way we restraint.
I think my wife wants to open our marriage, but I don't want to.
Then you just have to say no.
I met the woman I would marry in 2016 through mutual friends online. We had hit it off well, but lost contact as we were both young and had different lives on the entire other side of the country. In 2020, we reconnected, as with the lockdown, we were able to get online more and began to talk again. By the end of the year, we started dating and had plans to visit each other, which would happen in 2021. During this time, I was exposed to the drama, neglect, and mental strain her family would give her. By the way, this comes from the Unknown Ask, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, in 2022, I convinced her to move here, but her family was very insistent on her not moving till she was married. We regrettably compromised, and while she was allowed to move unmarried, we had to plan and have our wedding the same year. While we don't regret marrying, we do regret the circumstance that brought us to doing that so quickly and without the financial situation to really have an amazing wedding. We did our best to enjoy it, and to be fair, it wasn't a bad wedding by any means, aside from me dropping her during the dance,
Aw.
but we laughed that off.
Yeah, that way, yeah.
It's just
If you play it
goofy.
off in a certain way, it could be okay.
As long as she's not hurt.
Yeah. As long as she's not injured, it can be like, oh my God.
We've been happily married, but have had to jump apartments twice since then due to financial situation and terrible owners. We additionally had avoided trying for kids as we both grew up in struggling households and didn't want to put our kids through that. But with things settling and an apartment that we can really start saving money in, we decided to try in the past year to no success so far, which I can tell is just one of the many things that have been bothering her so far. A little over a year ago, middle of June-ish, me and my wife were in a very difficult time. There was a lot of tension, I was unemployed, our finances were in the tank, problems with her family grew, and a decent amount of arguments occurred between us. During one day after I had just become employed again, she approached me. She stated that she was considering a divorce and she was very unhappy in our relationship. I tried to understand what I could do to help make things right, and she mentioned how she had started to potentially develop feelings for another guy.
Oh, she's like, this isn't working. And you're like, how? Like, let's work on this. And she's like, actually, no, I
already got some.
I'm going to go with someone else. Rough.
Yikes. Over the next week, we talked more, and she basically asked permission to explore this relationship further.
And this is, they've been married for how long?
Since they rushed it in 2022, but they've
Okay.
known each other since 2016 with like a couple years of
Yeah.
not
Okay.
talking.
So since 2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like back together talking again since 2020.
Gotcha.
But married since 22.
Okay.
Since I was unsure if our relationship would survive and I still held her in the highest respect, I allowed her to go ahead with seeing how compatible they really were.
What?
We had also discussed opening our relationship to possibly allow us to see other people while still committed to us.
But we already know you guys aren't committed to each other.
Right.
I like this. You can't open the relationship when you're already having problems. It doesn't like 90% of the time, it's not going to help fix it.
And she came to you like, there's already someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, that's at that point, the relationship is over if you say, yeah, you can go check out this other person.
Within a month, she decided it wasn't going to work out with the other guy, and the thought of an open relationship wasn't something she wanted, and she dedicated herself to fixing what was going on in ours. A few weeks later, end of August, I started thinking back on the open relationship idea. I could see my wife was still struggling with a lot and brought back up the topic as if it was something she had wanted to do. I felt like I owed her it.
Huh? You guys are bad at this.
She
What do you
wasn't interested in the idea and felt a bit insecure over it. I would leave the offer there as a possibility until a few weeks later, mid-October, where I was sure she wasn't interested anymore, and we went back to focusing on our own relationship. Over a month later, which is now the end of November, the conversation was brought back up as she had stated she was approached by someone she knew who mistook her friendly personality as flirting, and in his mind, he was getting very far with her. So y'all are in an open relationship whenever your wife finds someone else hot.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, well, I noticed that you're interested in that guy, so we can open it up again. I'm sure it'll help fix the relationship problems.
Right. And then he like
deeply
dumps
seated into a
her.
relationship.
Yeah. Then he dumps her and he's like, we can close it off again.
Yeah. Huh?
I had thought that we had moved past having an open relationship, so I was surprised and unsure how to respond. She had seemed so adamant that she wasn't interested in it that I had completely closed the door on it, and this time I put up a lot more resistance to it. Over the next week, we'd talk again, and she had brought up how throughout her teenage years, she had thought she would never actually settle down and marry someone, and thought she'd bounce around different relationships as nobody really wanted her. Coming from a Christian household, she had no prior experiences than me, and that this second guy she really only viewed as an experience and nothing more. I resisted the idea as I, who grew up in a non-religious household, but still grew up in the belief of marriage exclusivity, didn't think this was the way to go. This ended before the end of the year as the guy wasn't the best kind of person and she recommitted to it just being us.
This relationship isn't a relationship.
No.
You can't just like you're not really married.
No.
You're on and off married.
You're on and off married.
That's
yeah.
not how it works. Stop.
Another month later, I, still trapped in my head now and just desperately trying to make her happy, again resurfaced the idea in a controlled, let's see what would happen if this was a thing. OP, you sound like you want the open relationship, but she's the only one ever having one.
Like you're always
Like-
bringing it up. You're like, well, I guess we can look into open relationship, but it's just her
Right.
going and like cheating with someone, and you're like, well, I didn't like it, but fine.
And then he brings it up again. I brought up testing out certain things and
Stop.
seeing how we handle the whole thing in multiple forms. I brought it up more over the next several months, and we even engaged in conversation with a potential guy who'd we test everything out with and exchanged photos only after she asked for permission, which I granted. This only lasted a few days as he started getting weird and had a very awkward schedule. Yeah, I'd be weirded out too
Yeah.
if my girlfriend's husband was planning our dates.
So strange. She's like, oh yeah, I'd love to take you out, and she's like, well,
What
we'd
does
have
that
to find
mean?
a
An
schedule that
awkward
works for my
schedule?
husband.
I'm sorry. What does that mean?
I don't know.
It's just him saying he's busy every time
Yeah.
they hit him up. Additionally, she shot it down as she wasn't confident in her body and having grown up following God, didn't want to engage in something with someone who wasn't her husband. Huh?
That's new.
After another few months, we're now in April, May, I backed off as she just couldn't get comfortable in it. Why do you want your wife to date someone else so bad?
I don't understand. He's like trying to fix the problems in their relationship, and the
By-
only way he seems to know how is open relationship.
Right.
But it's clearly not working. You
Right.
guys clearly are not meant to be together. It shouldn't
He's
be
like,
this
I
hard.
know what will fix this. I'll get you a boyfriend.
I'll get you a boyfriend, and then our marriage will be fine.
In the last 2 weeks, the subject was brought up again as she was branching out, trying to make new friends, and initially was concerned that if she started to get to know more people, she'd end up getting close and too close to someone, and it would start again. I told her I was happy she was making friends, but reiterated my hesitation of another possible relationship conflict. A few days later, she told me that she was developing feelings for one of the guys and wanted this time around for us to establish some ground rules for us to follow and hold each other accountable for following. I told her that I wasn't sure what to say. On the one hand, I didn't want an open relationship, and I was just uncomfortable with the whole thing. But on the other, I couldn't be the one to deny her something, as I felt like I owed her and just wanted her happy. In the end, I told her both of those things and stated that I'd have to think about it, but I did want her to keep me informed about things as they were happening. 2 days ago, we were talking about what restrictions we intended to have. I'll get to that in a second. And she said she had forgot to tell me, but that she and him had sent pictures to each other as things had gotten out of hand one night. While I understand I was asleep when it happened, so she obviously couldn't tell me then, I was a bit hurt she forgot to tell me till I brought it up.
She didn't forget to tell you. She did not, unless she forgot about your existence, which is possible. She didn't forget to tell you. She just didn't tell you.
I'm just confused by this whole thing. I laid out my list of things I wanted to see, more activities where we're both included, open, honest, and clear communication, the request for us to avoid traveling long distances unless both of us went, and the ability to meet whomever she's thinking about talking to or is. Things I didn't want to see, relationships that aren't ours, disrespect from any potential partner, us to be separated for long periods of time, and to avoid language with someone that would seem possessive but understand accidents happen. I again reiterated how I was uncomfortable by the whole thing but was trying to push past that for her, and while almost every time I have brought something up, she had agreed or made little tweaks to it, which I still found agreeable. After a little while, she starts to partially or completely disagree with some of them, and we're back to square one. Oh my God.
I need you guys to back out of this relationship. I need you guys to break up. Divorce.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible. It's been terrible this whole time. She doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. She wants to date like all of these other guys.
But in the same hand, he's the one that keeps bringing it up.
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly. She's like, I don't know if I want to do that. He's like, no, you should do it. And then she's like, I think I want to open the relationship. And he's like, I was very resistant to it. It's this
I've been bringing it up for months,
forth.
but I decided that now I'm done with it.
Now I don't want it.
By the way, I'll never disagree with you. If you listen to full episodes with stories just like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. And we have more.
No.
When we had married, I told her at her request that I would develop my faith and that we'd try to raise our kids in a Christian household like she had been. Now, a little more recently, she stated she felt trapped under that belief and wants to have a more unrestricted upbringing for our children like I had. And she always felt like the rebel of her family. She has continued to state that these would not be separate relationships, more like friends with benefits, and we'd still only be in a relationship with each other. I'm confused though, because then half those rules, do you just want your wife to have friends? I'm confused.
Yeah, it's like you can't have any physical relationship or romantic relationship.
Right. You can't talk like you're in a relationship. You can't see them without me meeting them.
Yeah.
Like,
just like you want friends.
Is the root of the problem here that your wife doesn't have friends?
I think that might be it. And also OP doesn't have any friends.
Guys, go
get
friends. Because also every time she meets a group that she's like, yeah, we're becoming friends. She's like, now I have a crush on one of them.
Now I've got a crush.
I just don't think you know how to make friends.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We're not wanting children or anything else with anyone else aside from each other. In the end, it's something she really wants and something I just don't think I can support. During it all, I never asked about me searching other women or wanting to explore things myself. Neither of us want a divorce, and we're still very interested in each other. Didn't this start with her asking for a divorce?
Yeah, it did. She said, I don't think this is working. We need a divorce. And he said, well, we could try this new thing. We could try this new thing that, I've heard about, opening the relationship.
You'll just date everyone you want, and I'll be sad about it.
And I'll be sad, and I'll be upset about it every time you do it.
But I'll bring it up.
Don't worry. It's going to work so well.
You won't want a divorce anymore.
Yeah.
Also, I do not want anyone to badmouth her in the comments. While there's tension, she still is my wife, and I'll protect her every step of the way. We have another update.
Stop updating us. Just divorce. If this update isn't we got divorced, I don't want to hear about it.
So almost as soon as I posted it, she woke up and we began to
I
talk.
don't want to hear about it.
We have agreed couples therapy would definitely be the best course of action, as some of you put in here. We have some comments. Commenter 1. Seems like she is asking for permission to cheat. All the back and forth seems like she's only interested in opening things up when someone's pursuing her. And it closes immediately, so you can't allow the idea of being able to pursue someone else into your head. Personally, I feel like she's either incredibly insecure and loves the attention from other guys, but doesn't want to lose you in the process, or she's incredibly manipulative and has made you think it's your idea for letting her bang someone else. I'd say you need to seek couples therapy with a spicy sleep positive therapist so she can be comfortable with telling you exactly what she needs in the bedroom to get this out of her system. But the going back and forth was getting old just reading it, so I can only imagine how you feel. That's the end.
And there we have it.
There we have it.
There we have it.
I mean, sure, try couples therapy. I don't know that that's what y'all need anymore, but...
Yeah, it's a solution. I don't know if it's the best solution.
I think it may just lead you guys to divorce.
Yeah, it's like, oh, wait, we have a terrible relationship.
We don't like each other.
This isn't working at all.
Yeah.
I get it now. But folks, that's the end of that story and the end of that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.